down. We're gonna go ahead and play some Drakengard 3. I am your runner and restreamer, DaleDukk, and we're playing video games.
This is Drakengard 3. It's a great bad game.
Yeah, it really is.
Great bad game. I don't put those words together. It is just a great game. That's it.
So yes, this is Drakengard 3, or if you are in Japan, it is Dragon Dragoon 3.
Thank you for saying that. Oh my god, I love you.
So, this game is kind of a masterpiece in spite of itself. You'll see what I mean when people start talking and you can read what they're saying. But it's a very dialogue-focused game, because if it weren't, it wouldn't be very good. You can already kind of see that the game doesn't perform well. I'm about to walk through this area with all of this rubble on the Unreal Engine 3, and it's really not going to be having it. Anytime there's a tutorial, the game, the frame rate just kind of gets owned. You see a lot of the enemies just kind of don't have a speed cap. There's a lot of good stuff about this game already. So here's our first run-in with the combat. You can see it's kind of not... it's just not. I don't know what else to say about it. It's just not. There's a lot of the screen just kind of stopping out of nowhere. More tutorials in the middle of combat as I'm already killing things. Just you can see that it doesn't work, and I just have to put up with it for 3 hours.
Yeah, so that stopping, in fact, as Dale has mentioned, is the PS3. It's not the stream.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, if it looks horrible, don't bother saying anything, because it simply cannot be fixed.
If you see the game lagging, it's not the stream. Don't worry.
It's the game.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, cutscenes play fine. It's just the gameplay.
So I was supposed to teleport there. The game decided not to let the intended mechanic work that time around. The game just kind of decides whether it wants to work or not. Yet another tutorial that we've already walked all the way past. Yeah, but there's just a lot of running right now, and a lot of avoiding enemy attacks, because again, the enemies don't have speed caps, they can kind of just keep up with us. Turns out you're intended to fight every single enemy in the game, and of course we don't, because fighting every enemy is not fast.
Also, if you want to know who runs this game, it's just Dale and Mash. There's one other guy who he's helped them out learning how to do this game.
Yeah, Kursung used to run this game, and he taught us some of the stuff when I was talking to him a while back.
I think he still does, but not...
Well, he still runs the game, he just doesn't...
He just does, yeah.
Like, so there's three.
So now we're in like a quasi-auto-scroller. It's weird. Like, you have to get all the sisters here down to a certain amount of health, but it's also on a timer at the same time. So all you can really do is lose time. You can't really save any time on it. But we're just gonna try to hit things, not be hit,
Dale,
just
do you know
hit.
you can guard?
Yeah, I don't, but you definitely can. It's definitely a feature in the game for some reason.
Never did make any damn sense, 3. Perhaps restraint is a source of happiness.
Yeah,
As you might imagine, it doesn't work very well. Neither does dodging, for that matter. You'll see me occasionally do like dashes to avoid attacks, and you'll be like, wow, he dodged in the wrong direction. Is he horrible at video games? And well, yes, I am very horrible at video games. Most of the time, I'm holding the direction I want to dodge in, and the game just kind of decides, no, you want to dodge this other attack way across the map. You don't want to dodge the one right in front of you. And I really don't know why they designed it that way. It's kind of like a...
funny that you have that issue. I've never had that issue.
It's kind of like a lock-on, but with dodging, and it doesn't work well.
I
There's
think it's
no
in
real
further.
reason to put in there. It's just
You
not
figure out a
that good.
great.
Yeah, I think it's that
like,
it thinks it picks an enemy. It's like, okay, this is the enemy you'd want to be dodging, and then it tries to dodge that enemy instead of the enemy that you're actually trying to dodge, and the end result is you end up dodging into an attack.
The advancement for this actual fight, though, if you can get them low enough, is the entire dialogue with the sisters. And if that's already done by the time you've dealt damage to all the sisters, then it'll just end.
Yep. So it's on a timer unless there's more health to be taken down, but that was pretty perfect, I think. I only got knocked over like twice.
Yeah, you finished before our dialogue was over, so that was good.
And now we just kind of hit Gabriel because we have nothing better to do. As you can see, it doesn't really mean anything.
Entirely a time section as well.
Yeah, we're just waiting on dialogue again. There's no health threshold this time around, you just wait to die.
So this game does a funny thing with stuff not being rendered directly on the screen. So Dale mentioned enemies running really fast. That's because the game wants the enemies to catch up to you and kill you. So you will just see enemies bolt behind you and just swing a sword that you didn't see coming and just get knocked forward. That could be used to some advantage when you're trying to go fast, but it's rather annoying taking a death because you didn't realize you just got whammed.
So Bringer of Flowers in chat says, I always figured from the name you played as a dragon, never actually watched it before. You're kind of right, kind of wrong. There are sections in this game where you do play as a dragon. However, the namesake actually comes from Drakengard 1 and 2, in which you were able to call and ride a dragon at any point during gameplay. This game unfortunately cut that in favor of
bad frame rate.
bad frame rate as well as a lot of hallways.
Well, technically, this is a prequel as well, so...
Yes.
It is a prequel.
This is technically the first game in the quote-unquote timeline of Yoko Taro's Nier/Drakengard universe.
Welcome to the convoluted story of Yoko Taro.
That we aren't going to really get into because I'm only going to talk about the plot of this game and not any of the others, because as the first, the others don't matter.
So it's going to be up to me during this long walking sequence to kind of
Exactly.
give a brief overview of what's going on in this series. I'm going to try my best to make it make sense, and I guarantee you it won't. So the idea is that there's basically a limitless number of timelines going on, basically the multiverse theory, but these timelines spread from anomalies, I think they call them.
Yeah.
Where something weird happens in the timeline. In this case, it's a apocalyptic flower infecting a dead corpse, and it results in a lot of strange things happening. Unfortunately, we don't see any of them in Ending A, but once you get into Ending B, things start getting really weird. Borderline Lovecraftian even. It's a weird game, but we just see the regular high fantasy type of story here.
On the left and the right of the screen right now, you're probably seeing some quotes as well. They're pretty interesting. Some of them are actually quite funny.
Yeah, they wrote this little poem to play during this walking sequence here for you to read and be like, that's kind of deep. When in reality, it has pretty much nothing to do with what goes on in the story, but it works.
It foreshadows a little bit. It does mention the flower and our current protagonist and how she kind of feels.
Oh, Dale, Magnificent Q says, we question your choice in this decision. You will attain a dimensional record, yes?
Yeah, this will be the dimensional record. Right now we're in the Dale dimension. This will probably be a Dale dimension record unless I screw up heavily.
I mean, technically it would be a record because you didn't submit anything to begin with.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true. So just running along, we don't really have many movement options yet, so you're just gonna see me running and then jumping whenever enemies try to attack me from behind.
Jumping and running is the fastest way to move.
We're on 5's turf now.
Aside from what we're gonna do later.
Oh yeah, there's a bunch of stuff later that makes movement really complex. But for now, we're just running and then jumping to avoid attacks. But you just saw me bust open a treasure chest. That's a big part of the routing here. The game is very linear. You go from mission to mission. There's no unlocking missions, no grinding, nothing crazy. But a lot of the routing comes from what chests to pick up, what to buy in the shops that we'll be seeing in a bit, and just generally your movement. So occasionally you'll see me pick up chests for a little bit more gold to upgrade weapons or for material upgrades.
So that little bit there, we just saw the camera turn around. The game forces you to turn the camera back around the correct direction. Instead, it's like, hey, look behind you. Okay, now you're fucked up because your orientation and movement is reversed.
Yeah, I don't know what happens. I think maybe in the code they were like, okay, revert back to the default camera position for the level, but the default camera position is probably in a completely different direction than what we want to be in, so we just end up with a clusterfuck of different camera angles we can't deal
For a
with.
split second,
Yeah, you know, for example, that camera angle we just had right there, that's a very good example of the game just not knowing what to do with the camera.
The funny thing is it kind of gives you tank controls during those sections too, and it just like fixes the camera, and you're like, what?
No.
Yeah, suddenly you're just running backwards in the level, and you really can't do much at anything because you're looking at Mikhail in the background rather than what you actually want to be looking at. It's a very well designed, well programmed game, and really no faults whatsoever with it. Is there any way to overcome the shortcomings of locking the camera? Interesting question. No, not really.
What?
There's really no good way to deal with the camera. You just live with it.
You're at the mercy of the camera, so
Yeah.
unless you learn how to play...
That is a big
controls.
RNG point of the run as well, because some of the camera issues will just kind of pop up whenever they feel like it. You don't really... It's not consistent in any way, shape, or
The
form.
ones during combat are
Let's
kind of
head for the
interesting,
strong.
though.
Yeah, sometimes you can control those by just not calling Mikhail, and then the camera won't try to do fancy stuff, but unfortunately, a lot of the times it is faster to call Mikhail for the sake of stun locking and taking care of enemies a lot quicker than you would otherwise.
So that shop that we had in the last mission was Accord's shop, who we don't meet in this ending, but she's there.
We hear her, we see her.
Yeah, she's
Well-
who we get all of our weapons from and all of our stuff.
Yeah, in
But
that.
we do it through mail order.
Yeah.
But there's also, I mean, I guess so. What we're doing right now in this chapter is, so the whole point of this game is we're trying to kill our sisters. We need to kill our sisters. We absolutely have to kill our sisters.
We didn't want to share our
So-
cake, that's why. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
there's-
we tell Mikhail that, it's
Yeah.
good enough.
We were all born on the same day, and there's a birthday cake, and the party's in 2 days, and Zero really wants
Let's go.
just wants the entire birthday cake for herself, so she's gonna murder everyone.
Yeah.
Funny
so-
thing to note, I usually don't mention it just because I forgot until recently, but in that section, in that previous level where we looked at the shop, there's a note that appeared on the screen for a brief second, and it says, hey, just take whatever weapons you want and leave the monetary compensation on the table. And we do that throughout the entire game, despite there being no one watching the shop, because the character at this point in the game, Zero, does know Accord and knows that Accord would, it would not be good for Zero's health to just steal
Oh yeah,
weapons.
she get fucked
It
up.
would really not benefit her in any way.
I eat them.
She get fucked up. That's all I have to say.
Accord is a boss who will beat you to death.
Once I kill them, I can
And by
extract their
boss, I
powers.
mean not an in-game boss that you can fight. Just, she's God, essentially.
Something
Truly the female lead that we have been waiting for.
Yes. So, we're on our way to kill our sister 5 right now. All of the sisters are named after numbers.
Don't worry, they ran out of ideas for the
Answer
characters'
you,
names.
just crush 'em.
Yes. And so,
Yeah, it's like, okay, we have these 6 characters, what order do we make them in? That's how we'll name them.
There is an actual reason though.
There is a real reason, very much so.
But it's funnier just to go on by numbers because why not?
Yeah, they don't have real names because they're not real human beings, but we won't get into that.
Oh man, the cutscene for 5 is great though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
5 is an interesting character. We'll be seeing her dialogue in roughly 10 minutes, I believe, and you'll have a field day with her, I do believe.
Oh, her dialogue's pretty great. Yeah.
yeah. What we do know about her at this point in the game is that 5 is a slut, and we want to kill her because she's a slut.
So, what is the lore Magnificent Q says on the entity of Accord? So, there
do we
is-
really discuss that?
Oh, we discuss it briefly and confuse everyone. So Accord is a army of time-traveling female
Androids.
glasses, big box carrying robots that they'll fuck your day up if you do something they don't like.
Their purpose is to record time and be impartial to what's going on, so they're just meant to record the history.
So as we've established, this game is design world. There's a staircase here. We're supposed to go up to get this chest. We can just kind of not do that. And moving on. Yeah. So Accord is meant to kind of find the happiest future and figure out how to translate that future into reality.
Really? The
or at
happiest?
least
I'm pretty
that.
sure she's just like, let's see where shit goes.
No. Mash, have you finished the game yet, Mash? I don't think you have.
No, I didn't.
No. Accord's goal is definitely to do some good for humanity. At least that's my theory, because at the end she's like, she actually does intervene despite not being allowed to intervene. Spoiler alert for a 10-year-old game you're never gonna play. But yeah, she does intervene, saves the day, and then that ends up being the timeline here. And my running theory is that her goal is to go back into Midgard to prevent the Shinjuku crisis from ever happening. That's my own
That's a
theory.
pretty good theory.
Don't ask what the Shinjuku crisis
Yeah, I'm not gonna bother getting into the connections with the Nier series. It's not worth my time, and it's not worth your time.
There's also 2 Shinjuku.
I'm going to stick to the Drakengard lore discussion for this particular run. I'm really not.
Don't die during this fight, by the way.
Yeah, I will try not to, but I'll
will
probably
say
end up
that-
dying anyway.
These 6 sisters, they're called intoners, so that's what the whole intoner mode thing is about. So you should never be under the illusion that they are humans. They are not. They are intoners.
Can I explain what intoner mode actually is, though?
Go for
Alright,
it.
go ahead.
Alright. So, my understanding and what the game teaches you is that intoner mode is where you resonate your voice at a super high frequency and make an amazing dubstep, which we'll be hearing shortly. And the only reason you have this ability is because you have lots and lots of sex.
Yes, that is actually true.
Straight up.
Actually, no, because my running theory is you remember Four's dialogue, right? So my running theory is it's not actually the sex, it's getting people to be sexually attracted to you that gives you the power.
Well,
I think
okay,
that's what
no,
it is.
like, the
I think
sex
that's
makes
what
it
it
more
is.
Powerful. At least that's the way Zero makes it appear to be.
But like, let me tell you,
The sex
Garfin
creates
in the Garfem in the chat right now. You're laughing. Mash is not making that up. That is that is part of the game. That is in the game.
If we were playing a lot of these funny cutscenes, like after Fives is nothing related to it, but I mean, she explains it a lot more, like going into 4, like when we go up to fight 4, and that. But and 2. I forgot all about 2.
10 out of 10 want to play this game now.
So each of the intoners, they represent a different type of sexuality, which is really so. They also, to use their like weird summoning dubstep powers,
The power of the intoner.
that they have to have a disciple to do some incantation that allows them to use this power.
Yeah, but the disciples used for one thing and one thing only, besides summoning the demons.
And that is sex.
Yep.
And the sex creates the bond between the disciple and the intoner. And Zero actually says in a cutscene later, I kill my sisters and I take their men.
I don't know.
And what do you think she does with them?
I don't know. My running theory is still just that they have to give a guy a boner to get the power. I think that's the real thing. Just because of 4. If it wasn't for 4, if it wasn't for 4, I would agree with you. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Decadus never fucks. It doesn't happen. But 4 definitely still has her power.
I'm pretty sure he references to
No, because she's still.
The thing with 4 is, I agree with Dale here, because with 4, the thing that gets Decadus off is his, being
Yeah. Yeah, so all you have to do is make a guy come and then you get your magic singing power. I mean, that's the lore. That's what's happening
That's
here.
not what happens.
No, that
but
is
I mean,
what's
it's
happening
pretty
here.
close.
No, that is definitely what's happening here, Mash. Don't try to deny it.
Okay, well, I mean, that kind of does support the theory running into
The other games have dragon fucking in it. Is that really that out of the
This game
question?
has-
This game has dragon fucking in it.
Zero canonically screws the
Yeah!
Who is the dragon?
I'm telling you, that's what's happening here.
Well, I know that because she talks about it. It's not... Okay, we know what happens during those campfire sequences. They're not hiding it. They talk
Yeah, no,
about
they
it.
definitely do talk about it outright later on in the game.
I mean, they talk about it a lot. It's really funny. I mean, the dialogue in this game is great. I mean, if it wasn't a speed run, we would let the cutscenes and shit play, but then the game would take significantly longer. We can't have that.
I do encourage you to, if you have a PS3, just pick up this game. Just play it casually.
Yeah, it's super enjoyable casually. Just don't get frustrated at the frame rate.
Yeah. The frame rate.
It's not the game's fault. It's not the game's fault exactly. PS3 was kind of crappy hardware to begin with.
It was bad hardware, but they also didn't optimize well for the hardware, and that's their own fault.
Yeah.
Stream.
Well, I mean,
Dragon.
I'd blame Square Enix on that one.
Like, part of the problem is that I think they have too much of the level loaded in at one time. Like, that's not helping their cause, because
Well,
they
yeah,
have too much loaded
everything's
in.
already loaded. Like, all they do is just soft not render it, and that's why everything gets uncapped when it's off frame.
Yeah, exactly, it's just not well made. Like, let's be honest here, it's everyone's fault. This one is
supercharged
everyone's
soldiers
fault.
Just, like, run up so fast behind you, but yet when you're looking at them, they don't move that fast. You're like, what?
So,
Okay, so I
this game, as you can tell,
try to get hit by one of these.
very, very, the small community that exists of it, which is us, is very passionate.
For me.
I mean, there's a whole, like, general community Discord that loves these games in the series, so... I mean... shoutouts to those guys. But, yeah, why are you doing this so slow?
Because that way I can do the explosion instead of killing all of them. Because that's a little bit
Yeah.
slower. Normally I have Intoner mode going into that, I'm not really sure what happened. But now we can just do this and end it. I
Oh,
probably
yeah, that's
save like
significantly
maybe 1 second max.
Magnificent Q, we question if Yoko Taro is truly a human from your dimension and not some sort of manifestation of universal libido. Could we continue? We could answer this, but it would breach our protocols and rules.
Yes. So I would like to mention Magnificent Q is one of the few interdimensional beings that will occasionally pop their head into my chat. You are currently dealing with a tier 4 interdimensional time traveler. So they're able to answer pretty much any question, but they're not allowed to answer pretty much any question, or else they would be terminated.
Please feel free to search for Yoko Taro's true identity.
So
Even if you can't tell us, go for it.
here is our first Intoner fight. This is the first part of the game where you get the hint that, hey, maybe this isn't your typical JRPG.
Yeah, not your typical, that's for sure.
I'm just thinking about what happens in that cutscene.
I think I will play that cutscene because we're so far ahead and I'm guaranteed underestimate. So I think we will be seeing at least that cutscene, maybe one other one.
What, the one with 5?
Yeah, the one after the fight.
The 5 cutscene and then quote-unquote
Yeah.
game over.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
those
that
ones
one,
you
and then
must
there is a
gotta
third
play
one
those.
that I also
I think your
might play.
estimate allows for it.
Oh, for sure.
Tell me.
Just
my
just
other
play it.
sisters
Yeah,
already
absolutely.
have a conclusion?
It's probably the
top of
best
the list.
first cutscene from a boss ever.
You
By the way,
really came to
this
me
music playing right
first.
now is
How
amazing.
flattering. I figured I'd start
If the cutscene leading up to this, she's just screaming, and then all of a sudden just devolves into dubstep, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah, if you do anything tonight after this, then you should watch the boss cutscenes for this game. They're pretty awesome.
Well,
The one, the one with 4, oh god, that's so good.
It's so good.
Truth be told, I almost can't.
5 is good because of the humor involved with her being a slut, and what Dido says.
Yeah, so Dido is 5's disciple. Dido is well, I won't spoil that because we'll watch the cutscene. But so 5 is a slut. 4 is a prude. So she's a virgin. As
She's celibate.
She's selling it.
Well, I wasn't gonna bring that one up until we got to it, but I mean,
Then
there will
there's
be some
Decadus.
funny
I
related
mean,
dialogue.
they're gonna talk about it right after this section leading up to the fight. I mean, that's not a thing. Well, the interesting shit for that cutscene though is what the interaction between Zero and 4 ends up turning out to be. That is the best part about that because of the situation that they have.
So then Decadus, he is a masochist, as we mentioned earlier.
Why are you breathing so hard, dummy?
Then 3 is like,
I'm having trouble
we don't really get
hearing
to
you,
see her, but
child.
her and her
You wanna
disciple
try
have a
saying
very
that one
romantic
more time?
relationship.
So romantic.
No,
That,
yeah.
3 basically goes.
Oh wait, no, it's not 3, it's
Ah.
2. 2 has the romantic relationship. 3 is the asexual.
I just impulse skipped
Yeah.
it, but I think I can go back and watch it
So
anyway.
3 is asexual.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I have the
2
chapter
is,
select.
2 is the one.
We'll go
you're-
back
yeah.
and watch
Yeah,
it.
2 is the romantic bond. So that's like sex between 2 romantic partners. Then there's
3 is
Oh,
scary
okay.
though.
3 is scary. She's an asexual, and 4, or her disciple, 3's disciple is. I'm trying to think.
You don't remember 3's
Her-
disciple?
No, 3's disciple is hypersexual.
Oh yeah, but she doesn't want him.
No. Oh, she doesn't care.
Yeah.
Alright, we're gonna watch this cutscene.
Sweet, I'll shut up.
I think.
Good thing
Unless
that
I have to do the
chapter
boss fight
select-
again.
No, I'm pretty sure you
Yeah,
can just
I
chapter
shouldn't
select
have
into the
to.
cutscene.
I shouldn't have to.
For
I
some
don't
reason, the
think this puts me
cutscenes are
into the game.
selectable.
Yeah, here it
Cutscene.
is. Here's the cutscene.
No!
Everyone shut up.
My song's power! No! Please! Shut up! If you want to kill an intoner, you gotta really make... Huh? Whoa.
She's dead! She's dead! She's dead! You sure loved working me to the bone, didn't you? Well, your little disciple won't be taking your abuse anymore! You're no intoner now. You're nothing. You're just a big sack of meat. I love you. I love you. What'd you love? You make me sick. You goddamn stupid, selfish, sex crazed son of
Brilliant.
What was her name again? I forget.
Yeah. Yeah. So, that's the type of stuff you're in for with this game.
Yeah, I mean that cutscene sums it up pretty damn well. Yeah. So as we can see, Dito did not like 5 at all.
Yeah, he was not a fan.
Dito's also pretty young.
Well, they're all the same age.
No, not everybody's the same age.
All the disciples are the same age.
Yeah, yes.
Yes.
But no, you can't. No, not exactly. But
Yes, they are.
Yes, exactly. No, they literally are the same age.
yeah, I know, but not exact.
Yes, exactly.
we'll hear the conversation about that during one of the story missions. Don't worry about
But
it.
they are the same age.
They are in fact the same age.
Yeah.
Quite
Yeah, we
literally,
know
they
that.
are the same age.
Don't worry, but the characters think differently, so we're gonna go with
Yes,
that for
they
now.
do think differently. They have different maturity levels. They also have very vastly different appearances.
And different kinks.
Yeah,
All right.
there's also
Now.
that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the big one.
Dito just wants to have sex and kill shit. We already know that.
Mhm.
Actually, I don't even think Dito really even cares too much for the sex. He's already had way too much of it as it is. So,
He does get off on being sadistic, though.
oh yeah. We get to hear a lot about that near the end of the game.
Yeah. Well, not our end of the game, but like later on, Dito goes sicko mode. That's how we'll put it. Dito goes sicko mode.
At one point in the game, we will hear the words, "You've turned into one sick puppy." He goes, "Yeah, thanks."
Where should we go, Zero?
Oh, right. Is this when we start
How
having...
the hell should I know where forward?
Yep.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
here's where we unlock weapon swap. I won't be using it for a little bit, but it exists. Just be ready for it.
It's a thing. It's usable. It's actually pretty fun to do some wild stuff with it. We only do like 2 things with it in the actual speedrun, really. But
Yeah, there is dash fast and spin to win.
So you may think, hey, you get a lot of distance with that movement technique, but would it be possible to get up there? No. If there's one thing this game did right, it's invisible walls. You cannot get anywhere the game doesn't want you to be. To a fault,
Welcome to-
even.
welcome to this game and OG Mirror.
Yeah, basically.
And every Drakengard game before them.
Like, they made such a broken game. Why are they so... Like,
Turns out engineers and programmers know how to actually make
God damn
it hard for you to get out of bounds.
Yeah, they just don't know how to do anything else right.
do we call Mikhail? Yeah.
Yeah, we do on this one, because he just kind of murders almost everyone.
Oh yeah, it's faster to call Mikhail for this little bit. We don't call him for like any other bits though. He's not really useful.
There's some where we do, there's some where we don't. Usually if there's larger enemies, with one exception, we won't. But if it's all
I
smaller
mean, I
enemies,
rarely
then we
call
will.
him in, so except
Yeah,
for
but
that part, we
Dale
just
routed almost true ending.
Yeah, so I have a lot
That
of
is
recent
true.
experience with this game. Okay, we're gonna go
That
for
is
weapon
true.
swap.
I mean, new game plus you don't even have to.
Okay, we got it. So now we have infinite stamina because reasons. I'm gonna try to explain it, but it's gonna be a
You
little
want
bit
me to
difficult.
explain it?
So what's happening is when you get out of intoner mode, there's like a little frame where for some reason when you swap weapons, you'll get the moves of one weapon with the stamina and other related stuff of the first one. So of course we're gonna use that. It's gonna allow us to basically use a sword, but because the way the spear's stamina works, it only spends 1 stamina every time we do a stamina move. Effectively giving us unlimited stamina and way faster movement. Mash, I don't know if you can give a better explanation than that, but I mean,
Yeah.
feel free to try, because it's a little bit confusing.
It is a little confusing. I mean, when we were seeing that and trying to like wrap our head around it, we're like, well, that doesn't make sense. But yeah, so first thing to note, first off, we didn't mention this, but this game loves to drop inputs. So actually doing that trick, because it's also specific to the frame, you could just hit or miss. It usually, best of 3 tries to get it usually. But the idea of the trick is to weapon swap from the weapon that you're currently using into another weapon, and it'll trade properties of the weapon. So what ends up happening is whatever your active weapon is, that's technically the stats you have, but the properties of the previous weapon get applied to it.
Exactly. Because you saw earlier at the very beginning of this level, I was doing like a spear dash of sorts where I charged forward. At the very beginning of that move with the spear, it spends 1 stamina, I guess to tell the game, hey, they're using stamina. So because of that, anytime we do a stamina move with the sword with the damage properties of the spear, we can just, it only spends 1 stamina since there's no charge attack to it.
Yeah,
Just a one-time.
So, like, again, it's using the properties of the original weapon with whatever weapon you currently have equipped now. So it understands the spear as you have to hold the button in order to actually spend stamina, because that's how that works, by repeatedly hitting or holding the button. So the sword doesn't do that. You just tap it once and it spends stamina. But the spear drains stamina at a rate of 1 tick, so the game just understands that as, hey, you can just hit this indefinitely. And just keep spamming.
Yeah, basically. So we're gonna be abusing the hell out of it.
What's the schedule command?
Oh, I think Moobot is down, or whatever we use for it, because I've been seeing people try to use it, and it's not there. Do you want to, like, link them to Hararo?
Yeah, it comes up.
Yeah,
again.
can you just link them to Hararo? That would be a lot easier.
Yeah, I can do
Yeah.
that. I can be useful.
That'd be,
We
yeah.
got you, fam. Also, get used to seeing that dog, Cerberus, because we're gonna see him.
Oh, we
how
see a
many more
lot of Cerberus.
So
I hate that dog though. He ruins my runs.
this game has a bad habit of reusing and just reskinning enemies.
Oh yeah.
It's-
I mean, welcome to old games where they had lower budgets, so reskins were the best way to get through things.
Well, yeah, but
Mash, this game came out in 2011!
We don't talk about this. Hey, blame Square Enix. That's who I'm blaming. Blame the team that they put on this thing.
Poor Yoko Taro. Up until Platinum Games picked him up,
He's been struggling.
Yeah.
poor man has just been stuck with low budgets. No one who really wants to work with him.
No one that can, like, understand the vision.
Yeah, I mean, he wrote how many, like, just an anthology of short stories about this universe. There's so much lore.
Yeah, he's definitely
Yeah.
just a guy who writes novels and then is allowed to turn them into games. He's a weird man. He's a very
He's
weird
kind
man.
of like the Kojima of story writing.
Yeah.
Not of actual video games, but like just in general, writing a good multiverse. That's what Yoko Taro is.
Because
He's-
despite the whole confusing multiverse, there's not a lot of very outstanding plot holes. They're there, but they're minor.
I would assume
Like,
that's
he sets up the rules to
Yeah.
this multiverse and he follows them. There's no rule breaking.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The funny thing is, like what we consider rule breaking is not actually rule breaking in the universe that he designed, which is pretty
And it's
fantastic.
kind of because one of the rules is there are no rules, but we're just gonna ignore that fact. It is tied together very well. That's the point we're trying to make.
Taro is an author who wants to be a game designer. I think that's more accurate.
Yeah, flavorful. That's pretty much an exact like
Yeah,
that's
that is-
exactly
that
what
is
I
very
think about them
accurate. That is very, very accurate.
And they both do what they do very well if you can look past the faults with the medium. And it's not necessarily within their control. That's the problem.
So you'll
But,
see during that fight, I got lucky enough to not have frame drops. I managed to get weapon swaps, so the rest of
That's
this
really
level
hard.
should be very fast. Yeah,
you
if the other one
got
was
it.
frame perfect, that was like 0.5 frames perfect.
Hello.
Hello, DarkFox. How's it going?
It's poppin'.
It is poppin'. I saw you finally cut your hair.
Yes.
Yes, you did.
Yes, I came here to get your opinion.
Yeah, it's a very good haircut. I will not lie to you. What's poppin' Two Worlds?
No more, why is Two Worlds here?
Yeah, that's a good question. Everyone's just kind of joining.
I was gonna leave in a minute. I just
No,
wanted to
no.
know what your and Mash's take on the new haircut were.
Yeah, no,
my
no, I like it
message
a lot.
wasn't good enough.
Someone's an eager beaver.
Vision Yoko Taro is certainly a concept that prides itself on a massive and expansive scope for their project. I think Magnificent Q gets it.
Deal. Magnificent Q always gets it.
Yeah, I mean, he is an interdimensional being. So you would almost have to understand the inner workings of Taro. In fact, it wouldn't shock me if Magnificent Q is a Drakengard character that was able to escape Drakengard and turn real life into Drakengard 4.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, no, we are in Drakengard 4 right now. This is not only a Drakengard 3 speedrun, but a Drakengard 4 Let's Play.
Does that mean Drakengard 4 has my haircut in it?
It does. Very good haircut
awesome.
in Drakengard 4.
Fantastic. Those are good character design.
Yeah, it is. There are a lot of good character designs in Drakengard 4. About 7 billion of them.
Yeah.
Only 7 billion?
Maybe
Yeah,
8 billion
some
now. I haven't
Beyonce.
really been keeping up.
Alright. I'm gonna go play GD. I've gotten the approval that I was looking for. The
Alright.
validation
That
of my
you
life
look
choices.
good?
Hell yeah, gamer.
Dude, I got that haircut was free
Okay, well,
because
it looks good.
I didn't know it was free. I didn't know it was
Post
free.
the pictures. I can't deal.
I didn't know it was free until the very end, but it was free because I donated more than like a foot of hair or whatever.
Generally how that shit would work.
We may need to check your authorization codes.
Yeah, I know too much.
What if I'm not?
Alright, later.
Here's the gigas.
Yep, peace.
Run
Enjoy
away
your
and
D&D.
I will enjoy your ARPGMEs.
Oh, we will.
I'll be honest, I hate how the gigas looks.
Yeah, it's a little bit
Creeps me out.
it's a little bit
But you're
uncomfortable.
that happy, bullshit.
Very.
Gigas is a jerk.
Shut up, idiot. It
You are
wasn't a
correct on many
compliment.
points, but we are concerned how you obtained this information.
Yeah, so I'm friends with George Bush, who apparently died recently, so that's how I know.
Alright. What else do we have to talk
Can
about?
I
mean,
skip the DM?
we will get to... What is it? Mount Bernstein of the Vice Norden. Get
No, it's not called that.
Yes. They don't.
Don't worry. We'll hear the game tell us what it's called. But yeah, we're going to some mountain. That's where the sister is, and she's running away from us. That's all I'm getting.
She knows that we're on to her.
But
She's running on.
if you liked games like Star Fox 64, I mean, this game does a really good representation of that whole sequence. So get ready for that.
Yeah.
That's not for like a good 10-15
Time to
minutes,
go
but
take
I
down
mean,
Gold.
you'll enjoy it. For some reason, the first 2 chapters of this game add up to pretty much what most of the run's gonna end up being for everything else. So. Also, this cutscene is pretty entertaining, but
What are you doing here? How come
we
you
skip
didn't
it.
get caught in the collapse?
Also, Dale grabbed that checkpoint. It's actually kind of important to grab that checkpoint because things can happen.
Yeah, there's the only time you'll be able to checkpoint is either before a boss of some description or when you grab those. So if I were to die and I didn't grab that, I would be sent back to the very beginning of the level, and I do not want that.
Yeah, for some reason, checkpoints aren't like auto-triggered. You have to go inside those golden circles. Not sure why, but that's just how the game handles them.
Hey, Zero.
What?
What kind of sister is
The sleazy kind.
slutty like mine?
Not quite like that, no.
The newest patch for Drakengard 4 is coming in a year or so. Look forward to it. Things will change so much that they will stay the same. Wow, that sounds like a really good patch. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it should be pretty fun. Really a reason to go back and play it again. So we're gonna try to clear this entire room on this intoner mode. So far so good, yeah, we're close.
You must really want to die.
But yeah, whenever you kill enemies, it will, in intoner mode, it will add a bit of the intoner mode gauge you would have filled by killing them normally. into your current gauge, so by continuing to kill them on each hit, you're able to extend it almost indefinitely.
With the power of blood and lust.
Yeah. And now we're not going to call the dragon because all he's going to do is burst through the wall and give us a cutscene we don't want to watch. So instead of that, we're just going to try to use Intoner mode again and fail horribly.
The shoulders are killing.
So interesting ways you can extend toner mode beyond where its like turn off would be is being in the air.
Yeah, if you're in the air and you're in Intoner mode, you will not go out of it.
Yeah, the game won't let you go out of Intoner mode until you've touched the ground and have stopped all actions. It will just force no more inputs, by the way, you hit the ground. So, if you manage to stay in the air and extend air combos near the end of your Intoner mode, you can prolong Intoner mode just enough that you might be able to actually get a random drop off the combo to extend it even further. So it's kind of great when you learn to do that properly. So we may or may not see that a lot in the run. It just honestly will depend if the game cooperates enough.
Yep. There is also a combo system in the game. You'll occasionally see a bloody number next to 0 whenever I'm killing enemies. When you hit 30 in that combo, you will get a red orb, which gives you a bit more Intoner mode, so that can also extend it. If you land right on top of it, you'll get that immediately and not exit.
Pretty sure those orbs activate at 15, 30, every like 10 or 15.
I do remember in my casual playthrough, I think it was at 30 you get rage, at 60 you get health, at 90 you get a medium rage, and at 120 you get medium health, so on and so forth.
That sounds pretty accurate, yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
I mean, it doesn't take much to get a combo going anyways.
Yeah, I mean, the highest combo I'll get in this run is 60, so it's really inconsequential.
As long as you get like enough for a drop from an orb drop for red, then you're good to go, because that's enough to activate Intoner mode, so.
So I didn't even mention, but Zero, she lost her real, like, right arm in the beginning.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we completely glossed over that whole cutscene.
Yeah, no, her right arm is not, it does not exist.
Okay, so okay, we skipped, like, the really, really important thing that might be why she's, like, super pissed. I mean, she already just wants to kill him before that even happens, but she's actually pissed about the whole situation because she really loved Michael, but now we have Mikhail. And yeah, the reason why that happened is Michael died.
Yeah, so Michael died. Zero lost her right arm because the only thing that can kill an Intoner is their actual enemy, which is a dragon. Which is why we have Mikhail, and before Mikhail we had Michael trying to go kill...
Gabriel shot off a Kamehameha, wiped fucking Michael off the map, and took Zero's arm with it.
Yeah, so she has the prosthetic arm.
Yeah, and the only reason she's alive is because she got infected by that flower that we were talking about earlier.
Flower infection happened earlier, didn't it?
Yeah, that was actually before the prologue.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the only reason she's alive.
Oh yeah, so what happens is that the flower regenerates her body. She's so Intoners, if they aren't killed by a dragon, they will regenerate and continue to live.
Which is why we saw 5 get back up after that cutscene before she was split into 2. Like a salami stand.
So that's essentially what happened, and that's why Zero's not regenerating.
It's funny though that she has prosthetic arm and that doesn't regenerate. I don't fully understand it.
It was removed by a dragon, so.
Oh yeah,
but yeah, you actually get to see. So another thing about dragons that when they get like one wish or something.
When they die, they get one wish, and they'll typically use it to regenerate themselves, but they do not have to. It's not a requirement.
Yeah. So, Michael, his wish was to be reborn. So, that's where we get
And Mikhail is the result of that. You're not reborn with the same personality or memories, evidently.
Yes.
Somehow, like, from what I understand, like, he shares traits and properties of the personality, but that's only, like, partial to the point because, for whatever reason, you lose a bit of yourself every time you're reincarnated. So.
And also, he's a baby.
He's a real baby dragon. He also acts very much as so, even if he doesn't sound like it. Because, like, the first cutscene we skipped, where we got introduced to Mikhail, he was just, like, rolling around in shit and hissing.
Yes, he was.
And it's a pretty gloriously bad cutscene, but it's funny.
He'll also just pee in fear sometimes. So that's something that Yoko Taro has in common with Kojima, is for some reason people gotta pee in fear in this game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shopping is, like, very important as well, if we didn't cover that. So, Dale just went in and bought a strength potion. I didn't see anything else that he bought off the top of my head, but he should have bought at least a strength potion going into the next set of chapters, because it will be used.
Generally, you need 1 strength potion per level, sometimes 2, depending on how many larger enemies you're gonna fight.
Because our damage output is pretty good right now. Until we get leveled up with the drops that we collect.
Until we get Ballerina. So I will generally only have enough strength potions to get through the current level at hand, because I'm also trying to save up for a set of 6 weapon upgrades throughout the game. I'm currently at 2 of these 6. So yeah, money routing is a little bit important until we hit the later levels and we just kind of have more than we know what to do with.
And for some reason you can remove like an hour off of a New Game run just because of combat alone being easy on New Game Plus. I'm not sure why exactly, but that's how it works.
Well, part of it's also that you can have endgame weapons. It's kind of like having Phoenix Spear in Nier.
Yeah. Oh man, that spear's so good.
Oh, here's the best enemy in the game, the spirits.
I really hate the spirits. They're
oh my god, what is happening here?
They possess other enemies, and you can tell who's possessed by the little weird halo around them. And they become stronger and definitely harder to kill. And you have to kill the enemy before you get spirit out. And hope that they don't possess someone else.
You just gotta deal enough damage, the spirit will come out on its own, but it's very rare that that'll even happen, because they have a crap ton of health and defense for whatever reason, and they deal like 4 times more damage if they're possessed.
A lot more. It's like somewhere between 3 and 4% more.
It's a ridiculous
something ridiculous, I do know that.
Of damage that they can take and deal out. It's like you can die really easily if you get swarmed. I don't know how many times early on when playing this game, even casually, I got like boxed into a corner with a bunch of possessed guys, and they just wail on you indefinitely, and there's nothing you can do about it because it's done locked.
Even a stupid idiot dragon. He'll be fine.
Man, they're so cheery.
With regards to weaponry and weapon choice, what are the points of each type and uses in casual versus speedrun?
That is a very good question. So there are 4 types of weapons: sword, spear, chakram, and bracers. So we're coming up on a cutscene here. I'll explain afterwards. Just remind me.
Hello? Hey, stupid dragon! Where are you?
Yeah,
What?
I don't think it's such a good idea to yell around here.
What? You scared? Figures. You disciples are more chicken shit than I thought.
No, that's not what I...
And time.
I'll say when this ends.
Yeah, so then they just kind of wake up and Zero's pissed off. Makes for some good dialogue.
Man, that would be great if we actually ended the speedrun at that point.
True any percent. That would be a good category. True any percent. Can we get on that, Mash? You're a leaderboard mod.
No, I'm not.
I thought you were.
No, I never wanted.
You're supposed to be.
I mean, I could,
Dale,
but
do it. You're the one who's run.
Yeah, I guess I am the most active runner right now.
You are. You also speedrun a category.
I don't think you are. You don't even have a submission.
Mash, look. I'm running it right now.
Sure, and I run it occasionally on the side as well, but that doesn't mean anything if you don't have a video posted up.
Yeah, when are you going to finish Almost True Ending?
Must be something nearby worth protecting then.
Okay, continuing the weaponry discussion.
Yeah, so, the sword is good for just like, it's kind of like an all-rounder. It's good against one enemy, it's good against multiple enemies.
I think the sword's the best for combo building early on anyways. It's got decent damage output, but I think the spear outshines everybody on raw DPS.
Yeah, so the spear is about one-on-one DPS, so you can use it for really high damage values per hit, which is also why it's good for us in combat to have the weapon swap glitch with the spear as the primary damage value, because we just kind of get to double our the amount of damage we do for free.
Well, we don't want the properties of the spear. We want the properties of the weapon we're switching from.
Exactly, because the sword is faster, so this gives us a lot more DPS.
Yeah, because it changes the values on top of the properties, right? Spear acting like a sword is actually making it a better weapon because spear is really slow. So when you give the properties of the sword being faster than the spear, it makes it a significantly amazing powerhouse. And it's the same thing when you go with the chakram as well, because it's a really fast weapon, but super low damage. So you can imagine what happens later when we actually show that off.
Yeah.
So the chop is fast, but it also is good against groups because it swings around in like a large arc or circle around you.
And it also functions as a ranged weapon. There are certain enemies that will be outside of your ability to run up to them and hit them, so then you can just use the triangle attack on the chakram to hit them anyway.
I'm also not sure if Dale's going to do this or not, but the fist weapons are actually a really good form of movement and getting around certain targets.
Yes.
I haven't exactly seen Dale speedrun this that much, but I constantly use them to like push myself ahead of my speed cap. Useful when you don't have the glitch active for the infinite dashing.
Yes, Magnificent Q, we are currently using a sword with the damage of a spear. To put it into perspective, the sword I have equipped right now is, I believe 26 damage per hit, and the spear is 116 damage. So with the weapon swap glitch, we're just getting 5 times the amount of damage we would get per sword swing. So it's pretty well worth getting the weapon swap glitch wherever possible.
Which is why you can save or lose time very easily if you miss it.
But yeah, as Mash was saying, the final weapon type, we actually get it third. I don't know why we did chakrams first, but too late now. Yeah, the bracers end up, they are good against one-on-one combat, they're the best one-on-one combat weapon, and they're also the best combo building weapon. So if you're in a sticky situation, you have no healing items, or you want in toner mode, you just go ham with the bracers and then it works.
Yeah, they have the lowest, they don't have the lowest damage value, per se, but they are, like, amazing at getting in toner mode up. Just spend 1 stamina bar with heavy attacks and you're good to go.
I do have a question. Have they mentioned what the place we're in? Game?
Not yet.
Okay.
They're kind of like, oh yeah, we have to go
to this mountain. What's
to this
its
mountain.
name again?
Yeah, I haven't really.
It has a really long.
They're climbing it right now, right? And the chapter I think is already labeled as such, but the characters haven't really realized it. That this was all, yeah.
The true
Well, we're
name
gonna
of
find
this
out.
mountain fortress is a really long, stupid name that I have memorized.
The characters unfortunately did not.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Mount Burr something or Mount whatever, depending on who you ask.
The game actually calls it Mount Whatever. which
Yeah,
is
it becomes Mount whatever. It starts off as Mount Bernstein of the Vice Warden.
Yeah, Mount Berenstein Bears.
Then
I'm
they
not
call
a
it
fan.
Mount Burr
Of what?
something.
Heights?
I can't
no,
remember.
Just all this stupid
And
precision
then later, yeah, Mount whatchamacallit.
Yeah, Mount Berenstein Bears.
jumping. You're on thin ice.
I'm gonna start calling it that
Slowing
though.
me down.
Hi, Frody. I love you.
Hey, Zero. Can you do me a favor?
Let me guess.
Shoutouts to Frody. He made things look nice.
Hell yeah. Oh, I'm supposed to have to. Oh, okay. This is fine. I could be. Messed up my money route just a little bit, but it's not gonna hurt us in the long run.
Here's Cerberus number 2.
Less cliche.
Oh yeah, we'll see more.
What are you bitching about? And who are you?
I like the
bitching to?
referencing to this enemy with the next enemy that we see after this, because it's just Dita is super fun.
But yeah, now that I don't have a strength potion, that's a good point to bring up. I was talking about damage values earlier and how we're doing 115 with the weapon swap glitch. The strength potions you see me using on top of that will add, I believe it's 50% on top of your current damage value. So with that, we're doing like 170, 180 damage per hit, which is a lot more than the 20 we're supposed to be doing with our sword right now. So you can see why money routing's a little bit important. Yeah, in toner mode will also double your current damage, so in toner mode can really go ham on some enemies. How many weapons of each category? I think there's roughly 70 weapons in the game, so divide that by 4 and you have roughly the amount you would end up seeing for each weapon type.
Yeah, there's a couple that don't have the exact same number, but
I think swords outweigh everything else in the game by a
the problem
decent
that
margin.
this game has with one, like, actually finishing a full game playthrough and getting the actual proper ending is
You have to get every
it's
weapon.
so much grinding. It's ridiculous. It's not even just getting every weapon on top of that, but upgrading it.
I do
Yeah,
have
you don't
a working route to get every weapon in a speedrun setting, though. So it is possible to do true ending in about 7 hours.
Who designed this place anyway?
That's a lot of work, though.
Yeah, it is not easy to do. And then the final boss just does not work properly because you've been playing for so long.
Yeah, I remember. About
So
that.
you kind of just can't win the game at that point.
You have to close out of the game. Just reset.
Maybe Yokotaro knew that and designed it that way.
I hope
He
so.
wanted
That
to
would be a very epic gamer moment.
So the final boss that we're talking about, it's a like 10 minute auto scroller, but it desyncs because you've been playing the game for so long by speedrunning it.
Or what?
And so what you have to do is you have to completely shut the game down and then load it back in,
What was it again?
and then you have to, then you can do it.
Fine.
So right now it's the dialogue where they decide to call it Mount Burr something.
Nope.
Yes, so it is a speed run in theory. What you doing, Nelson?
Yeah, these titans can really ruin your day if you're not careful. They just deal so much damage.
Speaking of all the Kingdom Hearts games earlier, the Titan really looks like it came from that game.
Yokotaro did it first. I don't care.
No, I don't think he did. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I just said he did it first. I don't care.
No, I don't. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think he did.
Your opinions cannot suppress me, sir.
I don't know. I don't think he did. I don't think so.
You're right. Sorry. No, the Titans first appear in that movie, Titans.
Yeah,
Or
no,
Quest of the Titans,
there
or-
you go, there you go. Yep.
Clash of the Titans. Yeah, Clash of the Titans. That's what it was called. I don't know.
No, you can definitely still beat the final boss. You just have to focus very hard and also be a doctor in music
Rhythm
theory.
games.
Music theory. You have to have gone to school and studied it.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, you just kind of don't win at True Ending D.
Imagine playing a game where audio cues are actually important, and then the audio cues are actually desynced, so that now you have to play the game in the reverse fashion.
So we did mention Star Fox earlier. We're about to be playing it.
Yeah! This is literally my favorite section, even though it's terrible.
Yeah, this does not play well, and you'll see why very quickly.
It's such a frustrating boss, too.
Oh yeah, because you could super die easy.
No, I for sure could die on the boss. Very easily. Despite
then
it
you
being a
have to
fucking auto-scroller, I can still die to it. It is not good.
The game makes it really easy to die in these auto-scroll sections for whatever reason. And it does the same thing in Drakengard 1.
Lots of wyverns around
You
here.
can die
Must be
so
pretty
easy in auto-scrolls.
And in those ones, you have free movement. It's not even on a rail. So it's even
Yeah.
worse. Like, you just don't know where to go.
Yeah, there's no way you can plan for that one. But at least in this one, you have some control. Let's just hope that the actual boss...
Wow.
Well, it's not even the actual boss yet, it's like the lead up to the boss fight. Because the actual boss is easy.
Yeah.
Casually, it's a nightmare.
Yeah,
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know. I don't know.
Casually it's a nightmare, because you have no idea what the hell to do the first time you see it. And you're like,
And then you die and you get really upset because you feel cheated.
Yep. I mean, the game wants you to feel that way. That's how I picture it.
You missed a key question, Dale. If we do share a connection to the dimension of Drakengard, what were you before you... Wait, hold on, sorry. English. What were we before we would have ascended to observe you your Let's Play of Drakengard 4?
I don't entirely comprehend the question, but maybe that's just because of my plane of existence is a little too low. But I think at one point we were humans, and then suddenly we just became video game characters without really being any wiser. Really, I mean, there's no difference in feeling. It just turns out that we no longer are able to die unless we turn the game off.
In other words, kill the filthy humans.
Yeah. Well, we can't anymore because we're not humans. We're video game characters.
I'm telling, like, the past selves.
Yeah, so Star Ocean 3, exactly. There you go. There you go. Yeah, no,
Hey, you got perfects. Those were good.
Always seemed weird that dragons have homing missiles.
yeah,
Dude,
don't worry
it's
about
totally,
it.
It's totally how it works.
Don't think too
And-
hard
and-
about
and
it.
By the way,
Just
Mikhail's
don't worry
giving-
about it.
Mikhail's giving a whole spiel on why he hates,
Wyverns.
wyverns.
Yeah, I know. Actually,
Yeah, no, there is dragon racism in this game. It's kind of like,
They're not dragons, okay? I agree with Mikhail on this one.
it's kind of like Bioshock
There's a
Infinite
distinct-
Sky racism, except with giant lizards.
Like, this whole discussion that you have with Mikhail during this section is, like, legitimate, like, super
Got nowhere
detailed.
left to run.
in why they are not considered a dragon, and it's just really funny.
So I
But,
will be
yeah, they're
talking.
stupid.
I will be talking about the giant babies later. I've been seeing people talk about them. I do have a interesting theory about the overall universe lore regarding the babies, because this game does have giant
does have
infants.
giant
It
None
for
of
sure
that.
does.
I just want
I don't know if I've ever told you about this one, Ayano, but I
All
think it's a
sisters
pretty
wanna kill
neat
each other.
idea.
Most just don't follow
I'm
through.
excited to hear it. We'll talk about it when we get to the giant babies. Or at least until we get to... We'll talk about it when we get to the forest.
We'll talk about it once we see them, because I kind of need them to be visible to
Uh-huh.
really talk about it.
Damn. Oh, I was gonna say, you're not gonna get a perfect on this?
think I got the perfect.
I hope so. I mean, it's not hard to not get.
Yeah, there we go. That
you know
was
what I mean?
perfect.
It's actually
Yeah.
not that hard to get perfect. It's just you gotta time. You have to know what's coming up and time all the shots and stuff.
Yeah.
But cool, got perfect on the whole flying segment.
Hell yeah.
Alright.
Alright.
The best part of this level.
Wait, are we watching this?
No.
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 I was
That one's not
so
even
weird.
worth watching, to be honest. It's the
Yeah,
after.
it's the one after the fight that would be worth watching, but I think it's too long to be worth it, to be
Yeah,
honest.
it
We've
is.
already
Yeah.
watched two.
Well, I'll just give a little synopsis.
Yeah.
Yeah, once we
After
get to it.
we will kill 4.
Now we gotta take it
Okay, so for marathon safety here, once we get to the cannon core here, I'm going to immediately do a intoner burst.
Oh yeah, so
That'll kill all the cannons, and that'll mean there's a lot less
Stay calm and watch the
projectiles flying at us at all times.
this is Forest Demon. It's literally a giant fortress.
No, this is an angel. This is an angel. The demons are the ones where you have to like sacrifice something close to you to get a more powerful dragon. Those are the
demons are what the intoners actually
Yeah.
summon.
This is an angel.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Very different. Like they have to use their power. Like Gabriel's technically a demon.
Not only do they need their song, they also need a disciple that is able to amplify the song, and then the angel will be like, oh shit, I'm being called, I gotta go to work, and then they go to work. And a giant fortress appears out of nowhere and murders your speedrun.
Yeah, I guess.
So far, so good though.
Gentle Zero, I want you.
Oh yeah, see, Flavorful gets it front and rear.
Yeah, Flavorful knows. Flavorful knows what's up. That is a very front and rear cutscene, I gotta say.
And you want to explain the deal
Okay.
with
Okay, so 4, she's pretty much a sadist. She is a prude and a virgin, and she refuses to give Decadus what he wants, except that's exactly what he wants.
My decision
So, because Decadus,
She's too nice. And she's too gullible.
by a mystic
oh yeah, definitely,
mystical bond.
absolutely.
It's called sex.
God.
Which is
Nothing
why that
mystical about
cutscene's so perfect, because it's like anticlimactic.
We are about to go to the next phase of the fight, in which there is a bit of funny dialogue relating to all of that. But as you can see, I just kind of have to hit this crystal in the center, and when I hit the crystal, it'll deal damage. And I also have a timer, and if I go over that timer, I will die. So I'm just gonna intoner burst and save my run.
Yeah, so Zero's just talking about how much she's going to fuck Decadus.
Yeah.
So
So here we
essentially
go. I mean, do we want to let the dialogue play out while I fight, or what's up?
Sure.
Alright, let's do it.
We can explain the result of that afterwards.
How long do you plan to keep running?
I will say, shoutouts to this boss, like, actually making reference to Star Fox.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Really? You saying you don't
I'm pretty sure this is basically a Star Fox 64 boss fight at one point, but I'm not really too sure. I've never played the game to completion.
That's because I can keep
Well,
myself
just look at the
calm,
boss's name.
unlike you.
Yeah, Armorous.
I mean, there's a real reason why it's called that.
Are you saving yourself?
Yeah, I mean that is actually just the angel's name, but it probably is a, it is probably a reference of some kind. This game likes to do that.
Yeah, the interaction with sisters right now is kind of important to listen to, so we're gonna let that play out for the last minute.
Sorry, no can do.
Fight you, Zero. I don't want to fight you.
Fine by me, and I'll take you without a fight.
Alright, that was the fight. So go
Yeah.
ahead and explain the cutscene if you would.
Alright, so Decadus is all like, no, I'll never be your disciple or whatnot. I'm loyal to my lady. And he says, no, you have to kill me too. And Zero responds with, I kill my sisters and I take their men. And so then he gets all weak in the knees and drops to the ground because he's a masochist and he likes that. And you'll see a lot in the in-game dialogue, the conversations between Dito, who's a sadist, and Decadus, the masochist, talking about how he just gets off on Zero being mean to him. And so in this cutscene coming up, actually, she tells him that essentially that she's going to have sex with him and to clean himself thoroughly, front and rear. and that's that.
I do want to point out that that cutscene that we did skip, leading into all of that, is actually rather interesting because of the supposed dual personality complex that 4 thinks Zero has.
Yeah. Don't.
Ugh, it's a great little sisterly bonding moment.
Yeah, 4 also believes that she is absolute justice, which you discover in later endings. Or no, in the DLC, I think you really look at that. And you really see why Zero hated her so much out of all the other sisters. Like,
4 is also a racist against dwarves.
Yeah. So 4-0 will mention in this ending that 4 is a two-faced bitch, and you don't really believe her until you see the DLC to where you play as 4, and she really is. She doesn't care about human life. She thinks that she's better than all of her sisters, and she knows better, primarily because she doesn't have sex, like all of her other sisters do.
She believes that she has the strength, more strength than them, because they have to rely on their disciples. So, it's kind of funny.
Also, what you didn't really get to see earlier is we stole the airship.
Oh yes, I love that part.
And then we got to have the airship for a hot second, and there was a locked door, and there was a map, and you're like, oh, maybe we get to explore this airship. Spoiler alert, you don't.
It makes you think there's a side quest coming up to get the key. Yeah, you have an airship like in Final Fantasy VII, and then it just gets ripped from you. You're like, yeah,
it gets shot down.
And Zero's pretty pissed by that point.
Yeah, Zero was very excited about having an airship, and then she kind of just doesn't now. So she's not happy with the people who shot her down.
So she's gonna kill them, you know, the best way.
We fight an undead, the worst enemy in the game other than the spirit.
Yeah. Undead are super annoying because they just block. They're like gods of blocking. The only way around them is to, you know, go around them.
Which you can't do sometimes.
Yeah, because camera.
Well, not just that, but like locked doors.
Yeah.
It's like you died and went to
Well, I mean, go around. Like, you sidestep the enemy to fight them, but combat with the camera is just,
Zero's gonna knee you in the junk.
Listen, I really hope that everyone's paying attention to the conversation that's been happening between Dito and Decadus.
Yeah. Also, I think the conversation after this on the next chapter with the fairies is important, and we should let that play.
Too many cutscenes. I already know.
No, not the cutscene one.
Oh,
The one during
the one while they're just in the mission. We can explain what happens during the cutscene. That's not a problem.
Yeah, we'll let them do their bit, and then we'll explain, because it's rather important that you hear the conversation exchange first. It just gives a little bit more context to what we're about to do. That's not for a little bit here.
Yeah, for now, fairies exist, and they look just like the ones themselves.
They're navies, so you can imagine what happens.
They like to tell you to kill yourself. They're a big fan of doing that, even.
Yeah, so this game, while being the first entry, like the first chronological entry in the Drakengard Mirror universe, it also just likes to make fun of literally every other video game.
Too bad I can hear you, dumbass.
Yup. So we've already had Star Fox, we've had... we're basically gonna get Zelda.
Yeah, this is 3 is Zelda.
What other game we made reference to? There's probably a lot that I just don't know off the top of my head right now. This game does everything, and I mean that's kind of what the Drakengard games do. They kind of pay homage in either a humorous way to other games that probably Yoko Taro has been inspired by, but...
Well, yeah, like, in Nier Automata, you'll notice how fourth of that game is a shmup.
Yeah.
And the combat has shmup qualities. I think Yoko Taro has gone on record in the past saying that he wanted Nier Automata to just be a bullet hell game, but they wouldn't let him.
I mean, Noji Nier's pretty close to a good bullet hell with actual combat, though.
Yeah, no, it's pretty impressive.
I just wish that Automata, had, grunt skip.
Yeah.
Oh, there's the fairies.
Yep. So that's when you get introduced to the fairies.
So going into this next chapter, we're going to hear them have a really interesting exchange at the beginning. Depending on how fast Dale goes, you might not hear the full exchange, but we can explain the end result. But we should be able to hear the best part of the exchange before the conversation ends.
Do you have enough strength potions?
Yes.
Yeah. As Foil says, he just likes girls.
I'm usually pretty solid on the money route now. I just made a mistake and used the wrong potion in one of the previous levels, so I lost a little bit of time to that. But otherwise, it's been a pretty good run. This is very realistically sub 3 even with the cutscenes.
Well, yeah, the estimate's pretty generous. At least I thought.
Yeah, it's pretty generous for what I usually get. I get sub 3 pretty consistently when I run the game.
Also, are we still missing Mikhail?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mikhail right now is tied up in a bunch of binds.
It's been missing for a while, we just didn't give a shit.
Oh, trolls! My favorite.
I also hate these guys. Not because they're easy to kill, it's just they do a crap ton of damage if they land on you.
They're also just completely, they were just minding their own business, and then
we just come along.
Zero's like, oh, trolls, let's kill them. They were doing literally nothing.
Despite them being just doing nothing, minding their own business, they are required to get through the area. So, despite her saying that, you may think, okay, just run past them. You cannot. You're not allowed to do that.
Zero really wants to kill everything. So,
okay,
we already had that fairy exchange, did we not?
I probably ran past it, to be honest with you.
I can't remember if it's right away when we started this chapter, or if it's
I'm pretty sure that there's one when we rescue Mikhail.
Yeah, oh yeah, there is. Yeah, the exchange that we want is after we get Mikhail. That's the important one.
Essentially, the fairies just keep telling us to kill ourselves because we're such inferior beings.
It's pretty funny to listen to, so we will hear it, but might not hear the full thing though, because we gotta go fast, right?
Yeah. So the other thing that happens with fairies is that
here we go.
Ah.
Now they're talking. They also have really cute voices, which really contrast with what you'd expect from what they're saying. Subverting expectations, that's a very big theme of this game.
Go to hell and die. Oh, the insults are just top tier.
Yeah, and it's great. So essentially what happens is we kill all the fairies and we kill their king as well.
No more Fairy King.
Yeah, so essentially there were fairies in this universe, and then there weren't any more because Zero killed them.
And that is the anomaly that causes the kind of like the end game 3 other weird branches that happens at the end of the game. The fact that Zero got fed up with them and was like, nope, I'm gonna kill you because you're tiny, that basically causes the end of the world.
I like too that like we're gonna get into the cutscene with the Fairy King shortly as well, and Mikhail's like, Zero, don't hurt them this time. Zero's like, yeah, I know.
Ooh, I will show off that one too, because the way she kills them is very funny to me.
Yeah, that's a short one.
It's a very short one.
It's an awkward cutscene to watch. I think like the best part about this game is literally the characters themselves. If Yoko Taro knows to do one thing right, it's design very good characters.
Yeah, that's one of the many genocides.
Okay, fine.
Dito wants to eat the fairies.
He does. Who wouldn't? They're tasty.
Really? Way to contradict yourself there, dumbass.
So, one thing I find interesting is that I'm surprised no one has done a Drakengard 3 play based off the dialogue and all that, because that dialogue alone is good enough to make a whole production.
Can you
value
stop
out of it.
possessing things so I can kill you?
No. That's what spirits do, Dale. That's their one job. They can't do anything other than that.
Thank fucking Christ. I was off to a really good start too, but then suddenly I just didn't want to die.
Welcome to iframes.
Yeah.
We get to meet the Fairy King soon, huh?
Yeah, not like we have a choice.
What? You don't
This
want
game
to?
is just magical.
Have you been asleep or what?
What a good video
These
game.
fairies are a bunch of assholes. Their king is probably 10 times
But yeah, so killing fairies is a big no-no, so we're gonna watch Zero kill the fairies.
Oh?
Because the king fairy kind of provides life force to all the other fairies, so by killing him, she kills all of them. Here they are right there, you can see them floating around.
Them's a lot of fairies.
Oh my god, I did it again.
Mm.
Did it again, I accidentally skipped. We're gonna go back and watch it.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna show it
That's
off.
fine. Totally fine.
It's not like we're an hour ahead of schedule or anything.
Yo. Literally nothing planned after this. I'm not lying.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna take up as much time as I possibly can.
Yes, save me.
So yeah. Don't kill fairies. So, if you remember in Ending B, they're talking about how the forest is really weird because of the lack of fairies. I took that to mean, hey, killing the fairies made things, fucked up. That's kind of my assumption there. I think that's what they want you to take away. I guess I could be wrong, but anyway,
This must be
cutscene.
Lady Zero. The rumors said you were uncultured and ugly, but my goodness, it reminds me of Lady 3. She was as dirty and inferior as they come. But you lot certainly match her in utter worthlessness and disgust.
Where's 3?
She's in the forest shrine.
All right, where's the forest shrine?
Oh, if I were to hand over that information, you'd kill me on the spot. I'm not going to be making that mistake. I'm the Fairy King, remember? No one is more wise or clever or boundlessly intelligent than I.
I'm not gonna kill you.
I find that hard to believe.
I, promise?
I find that very hard to believe.
What the?
Yep. It was that easy.
Mikhail at this point is just devastated.
Order we gotta go through here, right? First we get information, then we run off to someplace, then we get more information. Then...
Shut up. We'll find it if we keep walking.
So, yeah. That is what causes the apocalypse, I'm pretty sure. And I'm not saying I'm a lore expert, I may be wrong.
Well, I mean, that's
but
what
that's
causes
kind
this
of what they want you to get out of it, I think.
So, the flower is going to cause the apocalypse anyway. This is what creates an anomaly that allows for some different timelines.
Some different timelines that cause even worse apocalypses.
Yes.
Oh yes.
Yeah, for sure. And then one that causes Drakengard 1. This is the Drakengard 1 ending, by the way, in case anyone was curious. So this one leads directly into Drakengard 1, pretty much.
Which then leads into White Chlorination.
Yeah. But we're not going to talk about that, because that gets very confusing.
Yeah, but it essentially creates the conclusion that white chlorination is caused by the flower.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Or at least a flower, or something similar to the flower. Definitely a queen beast, though.
Yeah.
But didn't we agree that the first ending queen beast is 0?
Yes. Well, no? Maybe? No. No. The ending D final boss 0 is Queen Beast. I guess it's not entirely possible that ending C 0 is the Drakengard Queen Beast. But I don't know. It's weird.
What are you going on about,
Hard to
All
tell.
confusing. Too many queen beasts, too many flowers. So,
Also-
essentially, well, I guess because we aren't doing the final ending, I can probably talk about it, like, what the sisters are.
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
This is such a
Okay,
pain in
so,
the ass.
the sisters are actually they're clones of Zero. Zero was originally a prostitute who somehow became exposed to the flower, or she became a mercenary for some reason.
Well, it was
then-
forced prostitution. She escaped, and then she had to make money somehow.
So she became a mercenary. She got killed, and somehow the flower, which is a parasite, embedded itself into her eye and reanimated her, creating Zero. Zero, knowing this was bad news bears, tried to kill herself, but
She can't do that.
she can't do that because the flower regenerates. But knowing that Zero would search for a way to kill herself for good, it split itself into 5 other beings, creating the sisters, and they all ran off in a different direction.
Yeah.
And so that's why Zero wants to go and kill all of her sisters, is to kill the flower finally.
And the weird thing is that because Zero, like, she only shares one, like the flower took a bit of her each time that she cloned. And they don't look anything like Zero, but they all act like a personality of like the typical female that's been, fucked up.
They're all
Yeah,
like a personality trait that
of
defines
Zero.
them.
Yeah. It's a very interesting thing. But yeah,
That's why they
reason-
all
the reasoning behind her called Zero is because she's technically aka Patient Zero,
Yeah.
So that's my understanding, at least on the naming convention. So
Yeah, that's pretty well right. I think something along the lines of she wanted to separate herself from her whole forced prostitution career, if you will. So she changed her name to Zero because that's how she felt at the time. And then it just so happened that all the other ones ended up having tattoos of numbers on their heads. So, I mean, the naming convention worked out pretty perfectly. At least I think
mean,
that's is that the reason they gave in the manga? Do you know at all? I feel
I
like that
haven't
was
read the
it.
manga. I ignored it. Also,
Yeah,
there's a Drakengard 3 manga.
Yeah, there is.
It's very detailed.
There's a few Drakengard 3 mangas actually.
Isn't there like another game too that's like where one is the protagonist?
There is a manga where one is the protagonist. I don't know about a game. Maybe a fan game.
As far as I know, there's no other legitimate game, but there is lots of other material outside of the video game
There
genre.
are prequel DLCs you can get in the game that will kind of tell you what the characters were doing leading up to Drakengard 3.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff that happens before and after the games that just aren't in the games.
Oh
And
yeah.
that's why it's so ridiculously big.
So all these soldiers, essentially the Intoners have enslaved humanity. I don't know if we touched on that at all.
Yeah,
At the
no,
very
if
beginning
their
of the
intoner
game-
dies, they go crazy. They go crazy, they go stupid.
Like at the beginning of the game, there's a whole spiel and a really cool cutscene that basically talks about how humanity needs the Intoners to like do any good in the world. Zero said just to fuck up that plan entirely. Create war, create chaos, create all the problems.
Yeah, that is the story that the intoners in power will tell to the public so that they fear one. Not fear one, they fear zero. They really should fear one though, she's kind of creepy. Oh,
One
that's
is-
another cutscene I can show off because it's so fucking hilarious.
Wait,
The lead up to the final boss of Ending A. You know the one I'm talking about, where she's like, "Hey, here's some world lore." No, I kind of just want to kill you, one.
Yeah,
And then you
yeah,
just
yeah.
fight. You just fight. She never even drops exposition on you. You just fight.
I forgot the little tiny cutscene.
what's the last? Is the last one where one stands up and wait, no.
No, I'm not talking about that one. I'm talking about the one before.
I know, but I'm thinking about the last one. That one's pretty crazy with the.
Oh yeah, that's the one where you see like the founder of the Cult of the Watchers just kind of wake up. Turns out one had like a brother that she cloned, and then he goes on to create a cult that then becomes the primary antagonist of Drakengard 1.
Yup.
Well, they all used to be one person, but
And has a very, very creepy daughter.
Yeah, like the referencing in Drakengard 1 back to this game is incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it's tied in very well. Like, that's the thing. You think, okay, wow, this game's plot is a bit messy, but no, it is not messy at all. As confusing as it is all wrapped up very nicely.
It just takes a lot to understand it. Because you do have to be very open-minded, I think, to understand the Yokotaro games.
You have to be willing to,
so
like, spend time outside of the game.
There's so much source material.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
so much.
There's a lot. It takes years to really wrap it all up and understand most of it.
I still don't understand. I've been at this for 3 years.
I mean, I've been kind of trying to pick up pieces here and there since like 2010, so.
Yeah.
So this is the infamous double Gygus fight, by the way. A good general rule is that if you can't tell what's going on, it's probably going very well.
Yeah, he's not getting knocked around too much. He's activating a totem mode frequently. These Gigas fights are incredibly annoying. So cool thing is that cannon's helping us. That's actually really nice. It does create a stupid immense amount of lag, but
So does everything.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not really much of a divergence from what we've seen thus far.
I actually had the cannon crash the game on me before, so it's just. I don't think that'll happen to you, but I mean, it creates a stupid amount of lag. I'm not sure exactly why it also crashed, but it hit both enemies at the same time and made some like double animation glitch, and it just game didn't know how to handle it.
The game doesn't know how to handle a lot of things.
I've also watched someone play this game casually, and it just did an explosion from the cannon and didn't render a shockwave from the Gigas, and they just died straight up. They had no idea they had to dodge. and like he just flat out killed them because it
That
does so
sounds
much
about
damage.
right. That definitely sounds accurate.
So. Oh yeah, and now we have an awkward cutscene that we skip because it's incredibly long.
Which one is? Oh, is that Octa?
It's the one where
Yeah.
Octa comes up and he's like, "I will face you in 1-to-1 combat," and then he just drops his weapons. I surrender.
Just awkwardly surrenders. Everyone's like expecting this epic fight, and then it's just literally 2 minutes of them staring at each other in a cutscene.
Yeah, no, that is accurate. That is exactly what happens.
Before Zero just goes, "Alright."
Yeah, sure, fine. I'll take it. I'm not gonna turn you
essentially,
down.
Octa is Lady 3's disciple, but he has defected to our side because Lady 3 no longer has sex with him. And
She doesn't put out enough for his taste.
So the disciple's vitality and life force is directly related to how much sex they have. So that's why Octa looks so old. Even though he's very spry and he's only are they like 19?
They are all 24 years old.
24 years old. They're all the disciples are 24 years old exactly. But Octa looks like an old man because he has had too much sex.
Yeah, like the aging process for the disciples is accelerated based on their lifespan basically used as the intoners go about their business and activate their abilities.
Which honestly doesn't make any sense why Decadus looks so much older than Dito.
No. It kinda does. I think Decadus is like default settings, and for some reason 5, the life force she takes, is like making him younger until he becomes an infinite in the case of Dito. So eventually he would just be like a baby that fucks.
Well, actually,
technically, 5's had multiple
Oh yeah, that's true. She did go through other disciples. That's also a thing.
Yeah.
Yo, is that my boy Strawberry in the chat, by the way?
Yeah,
Shoutouts to Trashathon. Hell yeah. That was a good marathon. I had to do this run at 3 a.m.
Was I there for that one?
You were. I think you were there for that one.
Oh my god.
Wait, no, you weren't. That was Ignite.
Okay.
Oh yes, though her mind is sharp, almost as sharp as her blades.
Hey, you seen what's his face lately?
Yeah, Octa has got some of the best dialogue at this point.
The hell was that about?
Also, shoutouts to playing an RPG with experience. The game really makes you understand that.
Oh right, this is puzzle time.
Yeah,
Yes, it is.
the so-called riddles are so fucking. I'll let them speak for themselves, or let you guys explain.
So this is the Zelda portion of the run.
Yeah.
I feel like this whole stage is based off of that.
Yeah. So
Not again.
3 created these puzzles, and she has riddles for us to solve. But they all boil down to hit the thing, and it'll solve itself.
Hit the thing, get 100 experience, question why you're getting experience for doing basically nothing.
To be fair, it's not a lot of experience in the grand scheme of things. It's like maybe half a level.
100 XP is like nothing.
Not to mention the levels in this game only mean how much health you have.
Which still means absolutely nothing.
Yeah, exactly. You can't really grind and be super powerful. Like, you don't even... You finish the true ending run at like level 30. It's kind of ridiculous. You really do not need levels.
I mean, just don't get hit, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Plus, the game gives you way too much healing items.
Do you know the little funny silly trick thing with this part here?
Oh, what do you mean?
When you get all the gargoyle cubes, you can make Zero dance on top of the gargoyle cubes.
Sounds like your soulmate.
Oh no, I've never heard of that.
You never seen that?
No.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. I've attempted it multiple times. I've only gotten it a few times because this game's weird sometimes. But essentially, once you get all the cubes, and during the dialogue coming up, as the last cube lands, do yourself a favor and like try to like ledge grab onto it as you're locked onto it, and then like hit it.
Oh, that's interesting.
And then stand on top of it the whole time.
Also, by the way, during all of this, Dito and Decadus are like flirting.
Goodness.
Yeah, so I get a bathroom break here that I think I'm going to use just because my legs are hurting. Because this is the one point in the game where the dialogue has to continue
try
before the door
to do
will
the
open.
ledge grab thing. If the box moves when you do it, then you know you got it. You can just stand on it. Yeah, that one. The one that's looking at you. Ledge grab on him. Just stand on him. There
Yeah,
you go.
he's just spinning. He's just chilling.
Just stand there. Alright, go bathroom break, because it's really long.
Well, I want to see what happens because I'm standing on top of it. I've never done this. I hope I don't soft lock. Oh, that's just
No,
that's
you're
all that happens.
you're
Alright,
you're
BRB.
good. So yeah, like the game picks you up in the true little cutscene. But you can spin yourself like a top on the box because the box, like, whatever reason, is like target locked to you, and thinks you're still an enemy, and you can still interact with it. It's pretty funny. It doesn't happen all the time, unfortunately, and you can kind of get it to initiate, but that one unfortunately was that one already was active, so that was good.
Enough to make my snake spring from the can. Oh, it's
But
Yeah, so Octa's just talking about how much he loves sex right now.
and his trouser snake, his really big treasure snake.
I'm 22.
Oh, Octa says he's 22. So.
Yeah, they're only 22. They're all 22.
Huh? I'm 22.
Yeah.
Youthful essence. The hell, man.
I was gonna say that 24 didn't sound right, but I wasn't 100% sure because it's been a
What a
while.
drain. Who comes up with this shit?
But alas, I fear it will be.
But yeah,
even
this
sweeter
entire
for
dialogue
Fiona.
sequence has to be played out, and then it'll auto skip to the next section. So it's like a good 2 or 3 minute break.
Yeah, I am letting this cutscene play on purpose, by the way. But
Yeah,
so
minute, not even.
that is a weird section of the game, though, as I think Mash was describing it. For some reason, it's the only cutscene area like that in the game where you have to wait for dialogue for a door to open.
Literally the only part in the run for 3 or 4 minutes that you have after you finished everything to do it.
Oh, it gets better. It gets better. I don't know.
Let's go.
I forgot that this interaction even happens. I don't even know why, Octa. I don't even know why.
I don't know. He thought it might be fun.
Oh god. It's like dying.
I
This
forgot
game.
about that cutscene.
Same.
Yeah, it's a good
I skip
cutscene.
it. I skip it so much that I just forget it even happened.
It's a very good cutscene.
It's like when you do another casual game. Or I need to. You guys don't have to. I need
Yeah,
to.
you need to get a PS3 and play it as a game already. You love it so
my God,
much, but you don't even own it.
I just got a PS TV. I can't spend more money.
You should have come to NASA and I would have just given you one for 20.
If I pay for shipping, will you give me one for 20?
I don't see why not. It'll be like a late birthday present or something.
That would be awesome. Or you could be early, because at this point, October 21st, so by the time after NASA happens.
Alright, there we go. Perfect.
Yay! That's fantastic.
So this level, if I can get weapon swap, I can show off Ballerina. It's a very fun move that very heavily exploits the lack of stamina usage during weapon swap. Alternative names are Spin to Win or What the Fuck Is This?
I love Spin to Win so much.
Spin to Win is probably my favorite, to be honest.
So that's gonna be a lot of fun.
Oh right, so here we see little statues. This is Lost Forest.
You'll also notice the shape of them. I was talking earlier about the giant babies, but we will talk about that more when we see the actual giant babies as opposed to just statues of them. As of right now, it means absolutely nothing.
So this Lost Forest, though, unless Anna has something to say about it, but this whole section to me, I think, is a reference to that Lost Desert fucking part in Zelda where you have to like follow the signs.
Oh, for sure is. There's not a doubt.
And the sandstorm, and it just like resets you if you don't.
Yeah, there is not a doubt in my mind that that's what it's a reference to.
It's just done so much worse in Drakengard 3 that like the game and the camera don't cooperate well.
They really
it's
don't.
A reference to the Lost Woods in Zelda, same thing, but
yeah.
it's like where you have to follow the pose or whatever, or the monkeys or whatever.
Yeah, it's like a 2-in-1 thing. But like the weird thing is you have this fog that's like cuts the rendering distance down to almost nothing. And for whatever reason, if you walk, even if you're supposed to walk in that direction, the game sometimes just goes no.
Yeah, you just saw it happen to me actually. You saw my screen just like went white, and that's what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And if you don't get back into where you're supposed to be quick enough,
it'll just reset you to the very beginning, and you're like, oh my god, I just lost so much time. It happens, and then you get lost because this part is super painful when you're trying to speedrun, because it's very easy to actually screw this up. It's not actually...
Luckily, I do have kind of good visual cues now because I've done it so often, but if you're just learning the game, I mean, there's really no easy way to go about it. You just kind of have to guess.
Yeah, because, like, I've gone so many times, like, in the exact way they're pointing every time, and, like, half the time it works, and the other half the time it just doesn't want to render anything past the fog, and it's just like, nope.
Like, the way they're pointing is kind of just a suggestion. It's like, yeah, it's kind of over there. Go over there, and eventually you'll find something.
There's a couple secret areas in this section, too, that, like, don't have arrows pointing to them, and you could totally walk to them, but if you walk to them from the wrong angle,
fuck that one up.
You will totally just...
Yeah, that's right. You have to go to the left of the tree. My bad game.
Yeah,
my bad. I have to go to the left of the tree. I forgot about that one. My bad.
You specifically have to go to the left of the tree, or else it just doesn't render anything past the wall, and then you just get reset.
So that's a very good example of what Mash is talking about.
Yeah. I don't know how many times that's happened to me, and even if I go left, sometimes it just doesn't want to.
Alright, we got Ballerina. Who's ready?
Yeah, spin the wind!
It makes this enemy so much easier. So if we remember the whole explanation we gave earlier, where we're trading properties of weapons with damage values on the currently equipped weapon, then
yeah.
You end up
so
getting
my hands are off the controller, and I'm currently taking a sip of Mountain Dew.
So, because he's got the properties of chakram attached to the damage values of the spear, the game doesn't understand how to give any more inputs, so the only way you can cancel this is by either actually weapon swapping or opening the menu and closing it without swapping to retain the glitch.
Also, I would like to point out with that enemy, the centaur, if you'll look closely, there's an upside-down woman attached to them, and you can see the boobies.
Yeah, that you can.
I mean, there's
Monka TOS right there. That is a very big Monka TOS.
Yeah.
But
I mean, you don't really see any detail, but it's totally fine.
It's a good thing you can barely see them.
But the boobies, they're there.
They sure are.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's like just a woman with big boobs wearing a shirt, so...
Yeah. There is...
no female nipple.
But yeah, I like also how the map is just a big giant circle where the lost section is, and it's just like a question mark.
Yeah.
It's great.
I wonder if there is a skip in there. I haven't really looked at that a whole lot.
I've tried any numerous amount of ways to get around the whole section, and you just can't. You can't skip through that fog whatsoever. Like, the game is very precise. It has like, it's almost like it has an it has like two-way walls basically, where like you can see through one way and not the other. and it's like you can walk through them because they don't actually act as walls, but it's like a little like kind of guided tunnel. It's really weird to explain, but like you have to walk in that certain like path. It's like an invisible path.
Yeah, so I mean that's like why you have to be to the left of that tree.
Yeah, it's like really, really stupid. There's the odd case where it'll let you go outside of it just briefly, but if you don't go back in before making any more like movements, then it just resets you and you just hate yourself.
Yeah, it's either on a timer or depending on how far out of the tunnel you get, you'll get teleported back. It's a little bit weird, but
I've also tried just standing there, and like half the time it just resets you anyways.
Also, Decadence is getting me over the thought of being implemented on.
Oh yeah, he totally got talked about like how his junk might get snipped and stuff, and he's like, oh yeah, give me some of that scissors. Give me that scissors, brother.
Christ.
Now we have to fight enhanced super soldiers.
Why did you betray me?
We have to kill 99 of them.
As you can imagine, dragon versus enhanced super soldiers, the dragon just kind of gets the upper hand.
Who would win, Captain America or a dragon?
Your recreational activities
Dragon.
drove me away.
Exactly.
I mean, it really doesn't matter. Like, dragon wins every time.
You left because your lust needed
Also,
your limitless desire.
Octa's trying to convince Lady 3 that the reason why he left is because he couldn't stand her experimenting on soldiers anymore.
Which is totally a lie, but we don't need to get into that.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
more
it's
like
totally a wrong thing to do is experiment on the people that love you and follow you.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you specified that, Mash. I'm sure the general opinion was that we are very much on board with human experimentation.
Well, I mean, Decadence is.
Yeah, no, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
If he's got pleasure, I don't think he cares.
Jesus Christ.
I'm pretty sure that
Alright.
Dino would be totally full.
So, giant babies time, by the way.
Alright.
Gather around ducks and duckettes for a Dale theory.
Let's go.
So as you can see, 3, the Intoner 3, has kind of just built these robotic, mechanical giant children with like magical life force or whatever. My theory is that whoever's responsible, whatever like god being is responsible for the Watchers, which are giant flying babies, incidentally. I think the call to the Watchers or whatever, or whoever actually is responsible for them, saw these after the whole destruction of the world wrought by Zero. Was like, hey, that's a good idea. I'm gonna turn that into a divine creature. I think that's probably not too far off of the truth. It's not really anything deep, but I mean, like, the fact that pretty much the exact same thing exists as a machine tells me, hey, maybe that's not too far off.
I mean, it's also, isn't it technically her angel summon Armacile? So she built, like,
yeah, no, you're right. She didn't actually build this. This is Armacile. I forgot about that.
Yeah, so obviously Armacile is a part of. So these.
Do you want me to explain?
That these intoners are summoning
Are they really angels though? That's the question, really.
Well,
Yeah, because later in the game they say something along the lines of you can't summon an angel without an intoner's song.
Yeah. Well,
And then they turn into pigeons.
Zero says something pretty important early on, and that's that, like, when Gabriel gets summoned, that Gabriel is not an angel. So, I mean,
yeah,
Zero's
Gabriel has been
demonicized.
yeah, so she has done something to her dragon, to her summon.
Yeah.
That's
why Gabriel's like kind of fucked looking.
demon.
Yeah. Armacile though is an interesting
probably terminal.
interesting angel. Armacile is like, I think, entity-less or something like that, in a sense. There's not a whole lot of information information on them.
So I'm thinking that whatever god these supposed angels are under is what created the flower. Maybe the flower itself is the god because of the parasite. It's like the god gives a weird flesh type of thing.
Yeah. But yeah, all the angels are watchers as well. That's as their classified race.
Yeah, so it's just all weird. I guess it's a little bit of cosmic horror in that sense.
Yeah, basically.
They are a cosmic sort of angelic being, I guess. I don't know. There's not a whole lot of actual information on Armisael compared to the rest of them, but
yeah,
they're all based on actual stuff, though. That's the funny thing.
But my point is, I think Armisael has something to do with the Watchers. That's kind of the lore.
Yeah.
Like it is the thing that is the Watchers are calling to.
Yeah.
Well, they're identified as a Watcher. That's the thing. Like all of the summoned angels are actually Watchers.
So that entire conversation is only going to make sense to people that know about Drakengard, but that's fine. That's fine. But yeah. That's our last weapon upgrade, which means now we can just kind of buy a full inventory every time we do a mission. The money route is no longer important.
Alright, so killed 3, who's kind of ironically out of all the sisters, she's most sane.
Well, because... 2? No. I think it's 2 until anomalies start happening.
3 is by far nowhere near sane. She is completely gone mental. To the point where she's just like shut down interaction with other people that are like lower than her.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say which one is most sane. I'd say probably 2 is the normal one.
But
I mean, she's not normal though. She's like muted. Like, she literally became a mute.
Her song, so each of the intoners, their power is called their song, and disciples are meant to help contain their song. That's why they can't summon their angels without them. And so what happens is that 2's song overtakes her. It was too powerful for her. And so she essentially becomes not a vegetable, but pretty much.
She's vegifried.
Also, worst. One of the worst levels in the game.
Repeatedly the worst levels in the game.
Yeah, the desert is actually the worst area.
I thought the Lost Forest section was really, really bad, but this one takes the cake for it when we get to a later bit of it.
Yeah, that's pretty garbage.
Also, make sure you stay hydrated for this entire, set of chapters.
Yeah. It's kind of important. We're in the desert, so we're really going to be sweating a lot.
I like Octa's going to give some suggestions on how to cool down periodically through this chapter, which I thought was kind of funny.
Yeah, Octa's very concerned. He doesn't want to lose his new sex partner.
Yeah. Can you imagine if there was like we got to see like something of a resemblance of a scene during the whole campfire incident, like when you turn in for the night and they have like their big orgy? Like,
I think we're better off. I think we're better off not having that happen. Thank you, Mash.
Can you imagine how that would, like, just try to picture, like, how does that work? You got a dragon, 3 disciples, all trying to get in there.
Obviously the dragon screws the massacre.
Probably why he needs to make sure he's clear on the rear.
Yeah.
But still, like, jeez. I don't know how she can deal with all that. She looks so fragile.
She is anything fragile.
Yeah, I know. It's very interesting though.
Spin to win.
I was trying to hit him up on that ledge with that, but it just kind of didn't work out. But anyway, yeah.
The desert.
So a lot of the problem with the desert is just that, like, this one's not a big offender, but the wolves are still not good. But there's a lot of open areas, and there's a lot of, it's not good. I mean, I don't really know. You'll be able to see what I mean as I play through it.
I'm surprised you didn't do the damage switch on the to the spear. Because that would have made, I think, this section significantly faster.
Yeah, I could start doing that.
Because essentially, you give it like 1 or maybe 2 tries, but you get the damage, the glitch on getting the infinite dashing. Dash all the way down that section, and then you just one-shot everything in that section with the glitch.
Actually, at this point in the game, the bracers are doing more than
True,
spear.
But you also get the fastest form of movement as well.
True.
Because the enemies actually don't require that much damage.
It's something I'm gonna look into for sure now that you've mentioned it, because I never thought of that. I could do that.
Yeah, I do that for this entire bit here, and then it also makes finishing up this last little bit after the wolf fight significantly easy.
Yeah, but then I have to weapon swap again into the shotgun later on.
You still have to weapon swap because, I mean, you didn't already do it.
Oh yeah,
well,
wolves
yeah,
aren't
but I'd
just
have to weapon
extinct
swap
yet.
again. I don't know. Yeah, wolves are
Like I
still...
said, you only give it like 1 shot, maybe 2.
Yeah.
You really don't want to waste time trying to get it, but I mean, it does speed things up. I don't know, just something I started doing a while back, and it helped a lot for this segment when I was timing it, so. But yeah, you definitely want to be in Chakram.
Decadus has some issues.
Oh yeah, he's got lots of issues.
He's getting horny over sand in his eyes.
We're almost there.
But yeah, the wolves suck because they like to just run around and not stay where you want them to be. Exhibit A. Okay, that time it worked.
Yeah, wolves are pretty bad enemies in Nier/Drakengard.
Also, the chakram, if you're actually using it during that fight, can actually miss the wolves because they're short.
It'll go over the wolves if they get too close to you, so it won't actually speed it up. That's generally true of enemies where they group up on you rather than larger enemies. It usually just won't hit them if they get too close to you, so it's better just to fight them without glitches.
Surprisingly, enemies don't have as big a hitboxes as you think they do. Yeah, this little section here, you can just like literally spear dash all the way up the side rail. It's really fast. You go so fast that you just literally skip through the cutscene too. It's great. And the other interesting thing, because of going up here so fast, the game doesn't know how to handle it sometimes. It just won't render the wall at the end. So, that's fun.
Yeah.
Now we're fighting a golem. Not exactly what I would picture a golem as, but...
Forget it.
Golems suck. Mainly because of what the ending 3 boss
Lady
is.
Zero. Golems are infused with magic spells that give them life.
And?
Oh no, I need to do my Japanese practice or the owl's going to kill me.
Are always etched upon their bodies.
So?
You should get on that.
If you destroy the
No, I'm working on it. I'm opening it up right now.
perhaps the column may...
Too much work. I'll just beat him to death.
Did you get the
that would be
thing?
your response.
Oh no, I wasn't going for it because I had full intoner, so I just did a 3 combo and then got it again. Wouldn't have been worth trying. Because with golems, the problem is if they shoot off their like homing missile, it'll hit you out of it. And you don't want that. Because by that point it's slower. So usually for that golem fight I won't, but for some of the double golems later on,
you don't really need it for that fight. That's true. You could just fist it down.
Yeah, it's a lot of the larger enemies, like either the solo or the double or Minotaurs as well. The Minotaurs will.
The golem into the Minotaur or the double golem for sure would be faster if you did the spinny top, but I mean, sometimes the game just doesn't like doing that for me. So I only usually give it like 3 attempts, and if I don't get it, I'm just like, yeah, whatever.
So yeah. Next up is the desert, I think.
Well, we're in the desert. But
no, I mean like the desert, like, you know, the desert.
The annoying part of the
open world desert.
Soft quotes on the.
I don't remember if it's that first or if it's the temple first.
No, it's that first. I'm pretty sure. Oh, it's been like a hot couple weeks since I've actually played this game. Because, you know, I've been busy on stuff. Wow, this is taking a lot longer than I
Oh, it is the temple. Okay, there we go. Now we know.
Alright, confirmation. I was wrong. Like always.
Gosh darn it. Yana Yaru.
Darkness. Pretty much anything makes me hard. But that's not even.
You know about the tiny little skip and the little platforming section in here, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. It's not hard to do, but I mean, you could easily fuck it up.
Who's this guy?
A wizard, it would seem.
I've actually screwed that up once. It was not fun.
Better be careful, Z.
And I didn't know about that for a while.
Yeah, it took me a little bit to figure out exactly like that even existed, but I mean it makes a lot of sense.
I didn't even realize it existed. I'm like, hey,
I think it might be the only part of the game where we can clip through a wall.
I'm like, hey, it looks like there's a gap here. Can I just do that? And then I was like, whoa, my god! But I screwed it up. So then I tried it again and I got through. And I'm like, yo, this totally needs to be a thing. It saves me like 5 seconds.
It saves like 15 if you screw up the platforming. It's just way more consistent.
Well, yeah. It was like, at the time though, I was like, hey, it saves me like 5 seconds. Alright, I'm gonna grab it.
I mean, it's a lot of time. I don't know why you wouldn't grab it.
Platform shit again.
So, this will require both quick well, 5 seconds for me because again I fell first. So. But yeah, little tiny things like that you know we might have not picked up on right away with this run. Who knows? There's probably a lot more to figure it out.
Lady Zero's cruel behavior is quite troubling, no?
Yeah, I'm sure there are other small gaps we could get through like that, but that is coming up very shortly, I think. No. There's a fight first.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a section before that. But I will say that the Yokotaro games are pretty comfy for speedruns.
Yes, they are.
So, I don't think I've ever booted up one of the games and felt, hey, during the speedrun and be like, yo man, I'm pretty comfy. Like, I have always felt that way. I don't think there's been a point where I haven't felt like I was having a comfy run.
Yeah, they're all just like, they're not mindless, but you don't necessarily have to be in the game to complete a run with a respectable time.
Play the game enough, it's all muscle memory for the most part, because it's pretty much just combat optimization and movement for the most part. Bit of menuing, but
Alright, the owl will no longer kill me.
These guys again.
good. I don't know why an owl was threatening you. I didn't know that animals had that power over you, but
it's Duolingo.
oh, gotcha. So a thing that I'll probably never use that I probably should, because I want to learn Japanese.
Yeah, I'm learning Japanese. Specifically, I'm learning hiragana right now. But they have been doing simple words that use the hiragana, so I can learn them better. And I keep confusing yomu and yoru. One is read and one is night. Yoru is night, yomu is read.
I mean, all that the Japanese is gonna allow me to do if I learn it is play Replicant and order Japanese food.
So this is the clip coming up we're talking about. There's this little platforming section in here where you have to go like all the way up and all the way around. You kind of just don't have to do that. It's more of a suggestion than a requirement. Because you can just clip through the wall here and fall off because I got the bad angle. That's the first time I've ever failed that.
Wow, you went right past it.
Yeah, that's the first time I've ever failed that.
Yeah, now you're only gonna save like 5 seconds.
Yeah. Oh, fuck me.
Who cares on this run?
The game like stopped running and I put my jump input in twice. I love this game.
Yay, input drops.
Alright, well now we're losing time, but we're gonna show it off nonetheless because I don't want to go all the way around. It's fucking annoying.
Yeah, like, you can see that there's a bit of a gap, but you're not supposed to go through it, because it, like, pushes you up one pillar into the next, but it doesn't stop you by colliding, it just, like, pushes you away. So you kind of, like, shimmy past them really quickly.
Yeah.
Stay calm, and remember what we taught you. It's time to show Lady 2 what you got. This is no training ground any longer. This is real, you hear me?
Archers are so annoying in this game.
Yeah.
This whole section here with the narrow, like, walkways is kind of annoying too.
Yeah, because if you get hit, you're off the edge, and then you go back to the previous platform. It's not great. It's really, really not great.
And I'm pretty sure the game thinks the previous platform is like the entire big circle from the first one, so it's kind of silly. Well, yeah, you got it right near the door. Perfect.
Yep, this is exactly what you want, because then they just get stopped out of bounds.
Yeah, and they're forced to walk into it, which is great.
Probably grossed out.
Alright, and that's the level.
Yeah, that fight can go wrong in so many ways if you don't get the glitch going into it. Like, fighting 6 ogres, or like 3 at a time, is just not fun. Casually, you'll have fun, but in speedrun, not so much.
Unless you get the correct spin to win.
Yeah.
Yup.
It still looks so fun.
So yeah, like, we didn't talk too much about it because we only used the 2 of them, but there's some really interesting weapon swaps that you can do.
Yeah, you can get some really, really cool combos. I don't really know.
Some do nothing. Some do nothing. Like, literally, it looks like they do something, but they literally do nothing. And then there's others that are like, yeah, that's cool, and it just, you know.
Yeah, you can do some really cool looking stuff, but there's really a lot of them.
A lot of them aren't useful. It's funny how many there are with just combining the 4 weapons together. But, you know, you only really need the 2.
So, this level sucks, and you'll see why very soon.
The sunlight reflects off the
because
sand,
within the 4 weapon types, there's actually different styles of weapons. They'll have different combos and stuff like that, and it's the combos that create the weird effects.
And on top of that, there are
Suddenly grown stronger. Can't we do anything about it?
12 different possible weapon swap combinations.
Perhaps our foes
Yep.
use magic to amplify the sun's rays.
I forget what the most useless one is off the top of my head. But,
it's probably spear into sword.
It's
spear into sword sounds right.
It's one to do with I think it's either fist or chakra. The one of them does absolutely nothing.
I guess it could be chakram into sword. I really don't know.
Wait, if you do,
chakram into sword is similar to spear. I think it's maybe fist.
So when you do chakram combos into, like, while you're using the fist, does the fist literally extend off of you and spin around?
Yes, kinda. Sorta. I mean, pay attention to what happens with the spear, because it kind of just takes, like, the static animation of the weapon and then just, like, makes it fly around you.
Like, she's supposedly holding on to the weapon and throwing it, but the game doesn't know how to do that with the sword exactly, or the spear, or whatever you have in your hand. The thing is that the shock run, because it has such a wide hitbox, it can hit things in a really narrow, like, surrounding area. But when the weapon is a really elongated object, like a spear or the sword, it can hit more enemies, and obviously it does more damage, so it's more effective. The fist weapons have a really tiny hitbox.
We should probably mention that is
Oh yeah, our health is constantly draining because wizards are making things hot. And Octa, in order to like help with the situation, is like, just strip naked, everything will be fine. And we're like, yeah, probably not.
Here are the mages, or wizards.
So yeah, you kill the wizards so they stop summoning the demonic suns, or whatever the hell they call it, that are making things hot. And actually, in an alternate playthrough, they do the complete opposite. They make things really cool.
Yes, they do.
Because, you know, deserts at night, they get pretty cool. So they make it even colder.
So really funny thing about that. But, yeah, so if you don't get into a shady spot, which the game sometimes doesn't understand what is considered shade.
Yeah, it's not actually denoted by the shade, it's denoted by where the game put the triggers for healing.
Yeah.
So, it really doesn't work out too well.
The really silly part about that whole mechanic, though, interaction, is that if you get hit at all while your health's drained, you don't get any of it back if you step into shade.
Yeah, so you'll notice here in a moment, yeah, now we have a third sun, and that should be the last one. You'll notice how, like, part of my health bar is in red while I'm taking sun damage. If you get hit, you lose all of that. So it's very risk versus reward with, as far as routing for the level goes. But of course I'm a very big risk taker unless I get the wrong angle.
So yeah, if the wolves actually hit him at all, or any of the enemies, as he's like passing through them using the spear dashing, then he'd be kind of,
yeah, I'm in a lot more danger than I let on right now.
Yeah. Normally you can get through that section and still have a majority of your health back, but sometimes it just doesn't happen. Because actually the enemy that we're going to be fighting shortly after we kill these wizards drains your health as you fight it.
So we're going to have to kill it pretty fast.
He's scary, because I got into that fight with just under a quarter of health left, and pretty much almost died.
Yeah.
Probably the scariest thing. Scary moments in a speedrun where that happens. So. As much as I think that we've been kind of shitting on this game, it's actually a pretty good game, aside from its major faults.
Yeah, if the frame rate wasn't bad, the combat is actually really deep. Well, not like really, really deep, but if you know weapon swap, then it becomes very, very deep. Okay, we got it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let him charge me here, and then I'm going to spin the win. And that'll kill his health before he kills me. And then we're done. With possibly the worst level in the game.
Finally, the Shrine of Sands.
Mash, in your own personal opinion, what is the worst level in the game?
Probably this entire chapter.
But which one out of all of them?
The section where you're traveling through the desert, definitely.
Okay, so the one we just played, hell yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I actually rather enjoyed the rest of the chapter in comparison. If I'm like choosing an entire chapter, it's definitely gonna be this chapter. If I had to choose individual levels, definitely that level. Even though I despise the Lost Forest a lot, for that one segment, it's not as BS as going through a desert that's constantly draining your health.
Yeah.
Wait, is the next level the one that's completely different from everything else?
What do you mean?
The one where it's like it was like the demo level, and you're on the dragon, and there's people like on pillars. Or
Oh no, that's Lost First 3, but it's in the same area. Yeah, because I remember mentioning that, because that part made me think, no, you definitely were meant to be able to ride the dragon in this area, and then you just weren't. Because that's the only level in the entire game that's designed like other Drakengard levels, and then it just kind of isn't one. So I guess they probably made that, and they're like, oh, here's a concept for Drakengard 3. Okay, we like it, but make it a platinum game that doesn't play well. Make it a bad version of Bayonetta.
Oh my god.
It really is!
It really is! It's Bayonetta with a dragon and bad controls.
So cool boss fight coming up. Also very easy way to lose a crap ton of time if you don't get the quick kill.
Yeah, so I'm gonna try to explain what's happening here as best I can, but it's probably not gonna go well because I have to focus on it.
Do the quick kill and we'll explain after. We'll have time.
Okay, can that not happen? I want to get them both on the
get it
camera.
first.
Trivia time. Do you know why some boards are narrow in the middle?
Okay, that was
They
2,
can rearrange their
I
nutrients
think.
halfway down the fruit. It's science.
So, during this fight with Agri, I can't pronounce them properly, but yeah. So anyways, during this fight with the twins, you need to knock off their armor plating to deal damage. And if you set it up correctly, you can knock off both theirs at roughly the same time and hit both with the same amount of damage and essentially kill them all in one phase of the fight without them actually regenerating, which is good.
Yeah, but they're giving me like the worst possible patterns. I really don't like it.
Yeah, the unfortunate part is the patterning.
This is like the only part in the game where you'll notice it, but your stamina will not refill for a short period after you dodge. So I'm trying not to avoid dodge past attacks so I can get my charge faster, but like they're just not letting me get it out.
Yeah. Again, this is why you can save or lose a lot of time in a run. Is this section here.
Did I get it or did I not get it? Looks like I might have gotten it.
As long as you keep the damage output going, you should be okay.
Yeah. Now I just kind of have to chase them in a circle. They're not
Yeah,
being
so
corralled
they're
properly.
gonna run away from the direction you're hitting them from. So if you keep them both together, you're gonna be able to deal damage to both at the same time, which is significantly.
There
faster
it is. There it is. We got it. Now they're stuck here. No. Yes. Just barely, but we got it.
Yeah. So he's just getting his armor back, but you got it. So yeah, like basically, if you don't do enough damage or kill them before the X amount of time has passed, they'll regenerate, and you'll have to knock off their armor and stuff again and repeat that whole section.
Yeah.
But they get faster and they do a little bit more damage as well when they regenerate. So it's really weird.
Yeah,
But,
that was a little bit slow, but I mean,
the
we
setup
got it.
for that was kind of rough
got
because
it.
bad patterns, but he still managed to pull it off, which still saves time in the overall fight.
Yeah, because otherwise I would have had to do it one by one, and it wouldn't have gone very well.
Yeah, I think
Agri is really painful because it's two of them.
One of them is easy, but you have to juggle two. And if you don't worry about the one, the other one's gonna hit you, and it's just...
Yeah, which is what was happening to me there. And I couldn't dodge because it wouldn't have filled up my stamina. They just kept doing their quick attacks. Like, that was really bad RNG.
Yeah, stamina when you're flying regenerates a little bit slower for whatever reason.
Alright, so the disciple that we just got was Scent.
Huh.
He's an idiot who likes to pretend that he's really smart.
Oh yeah, he's the smart idiot.
Yes, he's that stereotype, or whatever it's called. And so the thing with him is that he's on our side, but he's extremely loyal to 2. Like, even though 2 is dead, he's kind of actually bitter about it. So 2 actually comes up in a lot of the anomalies as being
To conquer the enemy's
because of this.
Is she actually dead? Because we don't actually fight her.
Yeah, she's dead.
Yeah, she's dead. I think Zero beheads her or something. It's been a while since I've watched
Maybe
it.
so, but the city's still dead. And soon it'll be drenched
Oh,
in blood.
you know, yeah, it's like I just keep forgetting there's even a cutscene there with that in it. Yeah.
Yeah, you just forget about the cutscenes after a while of speedrunning.
But yeah, Sen still. I mean, he's got no one else to follow, so he's just gonna follow Zero. Like he's not really wanting to.
The thing with the abnormalities is that people actually start remembering things from different timelines.
Yeah.
And so they all get really confused. Like, Scent is like, why am I here? Lady 2 is still alive.
Oh yeah, exactly like Church from RVB. If that's what you're thinking, you're spot on.
Yeah.
But yeah, no,
Also, fuck this part.
yeah. Also, we're just kind of casually in a, destroyed, modern-looking city.
Don't worry about
And the
it.
game doesn't really explain that at all, it's just kind of here.
Isn't it actually Shinjuku?
It is, I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Because I'm thinking, like, they at some point found a way to teleport it into the past.
You transformed your dragon.
And so they did.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a
This whole place is like sacred holy ground for whatever reason.
Yeah, it's called Cathedral City within the lore.
It's essentially, it's a city that was transported from one of the alternate universes into this city, because the way that magic works is that it actually draws particles from a different universe, or like a different dimension.
Yeah, magic in your universe is just like something else from another. From a different timeline or whatever. It's silly.
There's like science behind the magic, it's pretty neat. If you ever wanted to actually read into it, but that requires a lot more effort than just playing a video game, so I can understand why you might not want to.
So this entire on-rails boss fight kind of is really difficult on casual playthrough.
If you don't kill him before a certain point, you just die.
Yeah, but we can kill him fast with some getting hit and using an encounter burst.
I felt like that went a little slower than it should have been, but...
Yeah, it's because he didn't do... For some reason, he wouldn't get staggered during his laser
you're
attack.
supposed to be able to kill him as you turn that first corner and the camera angle changes.
Yeah, but sometimes it just doesn't work out that way, because he can only get hit during certain animations.
Yeah, that's true. I guess he just...
Yeah.
We haven't addressed this at all, but Mikhail's actually been a roguelike.
Yeah, Mikhail is like level 3 now.
I thought that was better that we didn't touch on that until like now, because he's like at that peak pretty much.
Yeah, so he's actually been eating intoners.
Yeah.
And that's been causing him to level up.
Yeah, as you can see, he's got like a bladed tail. He looks more like a dragon, like Michael did. It makes him really happy. He wants to be just like Michael, because he is Michael, but not.
Good for you.
Yeah, but so.
And Zero never refers to Mikhail as Mikhail, by the way. He calls him Dummy and all sorts of other names. And Mikhail early on actually addresses that and goes, "Hey, how come you call Michael Michael and me, not Mikhail?
You have to earn your name, Mikhail.
You have to become a dragon," and that's that made him want to become a dragon. So he's doing what dragons do best,
which is killing intoners
and
eating them. Because so he didn't eat 5, which actually is a thing in a different timeline. Didn't eat 5, but he ate 3. Did he eat 4?
I'm pretty sure he does.
So he eats 4, 3, and I'm pretty sure he eats 2.
It's implied, but you don't see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It like happens like kind of off screen technically.
No, they do say it as Mikhail, and they do call Michael Michael. We're going off the English pronunciation. I imagine in Japanese you're probably right, but I've never played with the Japanese voices. They cost money. So
Well, Mikhail and Michael are two different names.
yeah.
They're spelled completely different, so
Yeah,
Mikhail
but Razor is saying it's probably pronounced Mikhail, and I mean, like, that's probably how it is in Japanese, but
well, in
not,
English, we're going off of what they pronounce it as.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean,
exactly.
Mikhail is also like a Russian name,
Yeah,
I
Mikhail
think.
is Russian, and that's the proper pronunciation.
Yeah.
Like how I,
Support me from the air.
to old auntie, I'm Sasha.
Okay, just barely off in the timing. If you time that right, you can do the burst from the gauntlet at the same time as the forces are charging you. Oh yeah, also there's cavalry in this game that we just never had to kill up to this
Oh
point.
yeah.
Forces exist for now.
Yeah.
For now.
Yeah, until they go extinct. Haha.
Like everything in the timeline.
Yeah.
Except for mooses.
Yeah,
And-
mooses and boars stay alive for some
Boars.
reason.
For some
Yeah.
reason.
Hey, stop mumbling.
But yeah.
Also, Yokotaro, if you're watching this, or at some point watching this, can you please make a board drifting racing game? Please.
Oh, hell yeah.
Also, it needs to have running in the Indies.
Yeah, the race music
And
is running
Deja
all over
Vu.
these.
Never be killed. Never. Captain, your orders. Do whatever it takes. Just kill her.
I really want boar drifting / racing to be a thing. It's like,
Bring it on.
We need
I'll
more
tear
Euro
limb
beam
from
mods.
limb.
yeah.
Sounds like trivia time. Did you know Limb from Limb originally?
Essentially make like a near like Mario Kart game.
The game
Yes.
always gets hung up on that door for some reason. I don't know why that
I,
happens.
it's silly. Sometimes it's just like, are you closed yet? Can I go? I'm gonna give you a few seconds. I'll let you finish.
Surprise, surprise.
But yeah, we're closing in
This
really
world's
quickly
piece
to
of
the
shit
end of the
again.
game, surprisingly. Even with some of the
Go take out
minor
that
things and watching a few
We
cutscenes.
watched cutscene.
What's wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this has
I
just
mean,
been a really good run.
To be fair, this game like
just
the
did
run
something.
can go from like really good to really bad, or the other way around really easily. It's just you're at the mercy of the game a lot of
Yeah,
the time.
pretty much. Kind of
'Cause,
like
like,
earlier with
He's nailing a lot of the transformation.
yeah. I don't think I've
Oh,
missed
yeah.
a single one yet, which is kind of insane.
He's been making these weapon slot glitches,
Look
and it's
easy.
crazy. This
He's making them look easy, but they're insanely difficult.
They really are.
They're
Cute.
frame perfect in a game that lags multiple frames at a time.
Yeah. It just makes it very difficult. Like, I usually miss, like, the first attempt or the second attempt, and it usually takes 3 to get it, so... I'm happy if I can get it within 3 attempts, but I usually only try once or twice. But, I mean, at that point, you're just losing time regardless. If you don't get it. So he's been doing really good, aside from the other issues.
Since we're coming close to the end, should I explain what the disciples actually are? Or is that something that I should just leave a mystery?
I maybe just leave them to figure that out.
Yeah, because they're not
Here's-
humans.
Here's your homework. Go play the game and learn what the disciples are.
Yeah, and then come back next year for ARPGME and have an essay on what the
Well, this run's
disciples
gonna-
actually are.
This game
And
is going
also
to be
how,
in NASA, so they can just
Yeah,
watch
just
that.
just tell me during NASA, and I'll tell you if you're right or not. That's how we'll know if
Also,
you played the
need
game.
to tell me how they relate to similar looking beings in Nier.
Oh hell yeah!
OG Nier.
Oh hell yeah!
That's a serious wish to make, dear.
Yeah.
Whatever, Decadus. Sometimes I wish you'd never
Yeah,
been
you'll
born
see
either.
this in like a month at NASA.
Yeah, it's
So-
gonna be a very epic run. Totally be there.
But I don't know. I don't know. First time I watched the end of this game for the first playthrough, I was like, kind of like shook.
Did you even know what happened?
Yes, you will see the next run at NASA. be sure to tune into Razor Flames.
Like, are you asking me?
Yeah, like, did you?
Well, yeah, but it's like I couldn't, like, for whatever reason, the first time I saw it, like I couldn't like get myself to want to comprehend it, because like I'm playing through this game, and the whole time I'm questioning it. I'm like, why am I doing all of this? Why?
But yeah.
And then it ends the way it does, and you're just like, the fuck?
Yeah, basically. But yeah, Razor makes a good point. The next run in this marathon, after I finish wasting time to get us back on schedule, is gonna be Dungeon Hearts, a very cool speedrun, I'm led to believe. So tune in for that, and also tune in for that at Masset as well.
Gonna be ahead of time, it looks like?
I mean, given that we were 50 minutes ahead before I started my run, I'm definitely
underestimate with your run.
Yeah, we are. No, we're probably gonna be sub 3. This is kind of ridiculous. This was an insanely good run.
Despite some of the other issues.
We watched, but that's apparently the trick. We have to watch those cutscenes.
I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, if I don't have to do anime, then
We're still
no,
going to do
you owe it to people to do anime. You have to do anime.
I purposely banned myself from submitting any runs, so...
too bad.
Too bad you're doing anime.
I was not allowed to submit to this marathon.
Yeah, it's not a submission. We're telling you that you're being forced to do this. We've overtaken your marathon. It's ours now.
Yeah, I mean, remember, I told you a while back when I discovered I was a god gamer that this is my marathon now. I don't know what to tell you, Mash. I guess you've just been overthrown.
I mean, you've been a super swell guy letting me sleep at least.
So...
Alright, well, it is me, DaleDukk, the new president of ARPGME. So, thank you for coming out to my marathon and enjoying the runs that I had people submit and then accepted.
Also, what's it called? The server that you own and run.
Yeah. That is me. I am the president of ARPGME.
NASA owns that server.
That is true.
We have a collaborative agreement.
Yeah, Dark Areas just pays out of pocket, and then as we do marathons, we get ad revenue to pay for it.
I help when I can with it as well. So.
Usually if I'm responsible for a marathon at all, I'll at least give like $2 or so. Because it's only $5 a month, believe it or not. Like, people always have trouble setting up RTMP because they think they have to own the server locally, and it's like, no, just rent from ServeBeer, it's $5 a month. Come on.
It's like, I do have servers in my basement. Like, my dad built them out of old computers.
No. I had servers set up on older machines, but I mean, I stopped doing that years ago.
I had
I had private servers for what? RuneScape and Terraria and all sorts of random games. It was pretty interesting. But no one needs to know about my history with that stuff.
No, it's okay, Razor. We're forcing MASH to do anime because we really want to see it.
Yeah, I mean, tell me you don't want to see anime tits on the Twitch stream right now.
Yeah, no, it's...
Like, if anyone doesn't want that, I'm gonna ban you as one of the moderators. I will make it an official action to make sure you never watch another
may or may not
NASA marathon run.
I mean.
You can mercy kill it, that's fine, as long as it's the anime titties.
But yeah, no. We definitely want anime tits on the screen. That's the end goal here.
But also, we're going to do at least one attempt at the final boss, just
yes,
so you can
we are.
Because it's my favorite thing.
I'm looking forward to actually getting to watch it legitimately for the first time.
Also, I wonder if we've been playing long enough. Well, no, we haven't been playing long enough.
I want to be banned, but only temporarily, please. Why would you want to be banned from the best anime stream of all time?
I'm gonna use my best judgment and not comply.
Yeah, why would you want to be banned during a
I don't want to please you, so I'm not going to. You sadistic fuck.
Yeah, what the fuck? Why would you want to get banned? This is the best marathon of all time. Why would you want to get banned from it? I mean, it's my marathon. Of course it's the best marathon of all time. You know, me, the president of ARPGME's marathon.
I'll just let you own that for now.
Oh yeah, by mercy kill we mean stopping a run before it's completed.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
I don't know, man. All
I
I'm
mean,
saying,
we
all
could
I'm
just kill
saying
Mash.
is that anime titty runs are the best runs you can possibly have
And
in a
that's
marathon.
all the runs Mash does.
Exactly.
That's not true. I run actual games.
Yeah,
You run
yeah,
Drakengard
yeah,
3,
yeah,
which
yeah.
is not very far
Yeah.
removed from anime titties.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's most of your games. I'm pretty sure we're
I
right.
don't know what, like.
Kaine, which is anime titties.
Yeah. Which I love my emote for. Thanks to the community.
What else do you run?
I don't know. I have to look at my SRDC profile because I'm that ridiculous.
Yeah, you do run a lot of games. It's kind of crazy.
So Streets of Rage is not anime. Protect Me Knight is. Drakengard, I guess anime. CVHD, not anime. Energis, oh god. That's all I have to say on that one. Dissidia. Domina, but we won't talk about that game. Schoolgirl Zombie Hunters sounds exactly what it is. Ane Shambara. I mean, if you haven't watched a run of that, then you probably should.
Yeah, probably.
And Altered Beast, but we won't talk about that. Here, and then Revelations 2 raid mode. I mean, that's it for full game runs, or anything of that quality. As far as level runs go, just Monster Hunter and Killing Floor. I have new stuff in the works anyways, that's not on SRGC, but we'll see that at some point.
By which you mean you're working on, what's it called?
Senran Kagura.
Senran Kagura.
Yeah.
That's
That's my new life investment.
Ultimate anime.
Yeah, for some reason that's what you're doing.
Is it? I thought I was doing Ane Shambara or something along that line.
I mean,
Yeah.
for this, yeah, but I mean, you sure are wasting a lot of time trying to learn Senran Kagura, possibly the worst titty game of all time.
Worst? Excuse me?
Did you see the octopus?
Yeah, I mean,
Were
that's
you
like
there
the
when
one,
I was
that's like
just,
the
like-
one redeeming feature of that game is the goddamn
Really?
octopus.
Did you not see the transformation of the one character that hates?
Oh no, that's true. That's true.
Oh,
that is a good
It's
transformation.
so much better.
Like,
That is a
we
good
made her look
transformation.
tolerable at least during
Yes,
the
she looks
playthrough.
so much better now. It's
But,
really just the bows.
I won't have the chance really to do that in the speedrun.
No, but
Yeah.
the octopus is happening, even if you
Yeah.
just put it into the model.
Yeah, even if I just like place it and don't edit where it goes, like that, I'm gonna just work
Just
in
put
the
it in there.
2 seconds
Yeah.
to do that.
As long as it makes it in.
It better.
Well, that's easy enough to work into that. It'll just look ridiculous when it zooms in on all the characters and stuff.
Yes, that's the point.
Do we do it to every character?
Just do it to the intolerable one.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, you'll see that at upcoming NASA. So look forward to
Wait,
that.
you're gonna
one.
do it at NASA?
Yeah.
Yellow.
Wow,
Apparently, I'm doing that at NASA.
that's exciting. I'm so pissed. It's like I'm going to demand that you guys fix up like a Discord call so I can be vaguely on the couch.
I mean, that's probably possible. I just like sit my phone on the couch with Discord running,
Yeah.
with a microphone like up to
Or
it.
if they can run, if the staff will run Discord through it, I don't know.
I mean, it's entirely possible that something like that may be able to be done. So.
It's really up to the discretion of the staff. We can talk to them about it, especially with it being this early.
Yeah. But yeah, that'll be something. Yeah, the options that they had were that Senran Kagura Renewal Burst, or Burst Renewal, sorry, which is a re-release of the first Senran Kagura game, and then the other option was basically Senran Kagura meets Splatoon, which is known as Peach Beach Splash. So you can imagine how that one goes. So I don't know whether or not they chose the less or the better of the two. It's really up to each individual to figure that out. But
I feel like Peach
are
Peach
games.
Splash would have been a lot more. I feel like the banter would have been a lot better. But maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, the game's fast and there's not a whole, like, I don't know. Peach Peach Splash is, like, really short in terms of, like, gameplay. But the in-game banter you wouldn't hear as much as you would in the other Senran Kagura games.
No, I mean, like, the game is way funnier because it's just Splatoon with anime tits.
Well, yeah, I mean, the concept of the game is pretty funny. The end game boss is really cool, actually.
That is true.
I really enjoyed the end game boss of Peach Peach Splash. Also, did you know there's a Senran Kagura pinball game coming to the Switch?
Why?
What?
Yeah, there's a Senran Kagura anime cat girl like furry pinball game coming to the Switch. I don't know what to call it. It looks fucked. On the Switch. Keep that in mind. This is gonna be like the first Senran game on the Nintendo
Actually,
platform.
no. There's a Senran game on the Switch. Oh god, what is it? It's like Skinship with the girls for some reason.
Yeah, but that was the port. That actually already existed. I mean, but like they're actually launching this day one on Switch when it comes out. It's fantastic. At least in North America. It's probably already out in Japan, but who the fuck puts like those games on Switch in Japan? You know, it's PS4. It's like PlayStation exclusive in Japan, as far as I know. So, like most of these games.
Mighty Metric Batman, you have Joker and Smash. What more do you want? Also, now we're going to fight a dragon, and this boss is stupid.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Don't you just love Mikhail?
Then I guess I just have to kill you first.
So yeah, Gabriel's not dead.
You and your
Oh yeah. This is Gabriel.
she enhanced her
You might have seen him at the earlier part of the run.
So when you do that,
Dale, having difficulties.
What the fuck? That was 3! I hate this game
Apparently not.
sometimes.
This fight's rough.
Yeah, so this fight's not going nearly as well as the entire rest of the run. We're choking pretty hard.
Yeah, no. So this boss, essentially, you can have the best run ever. Won't matter. This boss will wreck you. It's a garbage boss. We all hate it. It's a dragon fight indoors with these pillars. He can knock you down whenever he wants. It's stupid.
You literally play hide and go seek around the pillars because you don't want to get hit. But I mean, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So essentially, the whole lore is that one turned her dragon into a daemon, and by doing so, got rid of so the dragon no longer has free will or anything.
does anything hurt him?
In the DLC, which is like the prequels to it, she actually cloned. Gabriel hasn't been transformed into Gabriel yet. It's still Gabrielle, who is a salty dragon who believes she is above everyone. Which is pretty like her.
Also, for whatever reason, I think this is correct, but no one else can hear the dragons except for like the intoners and disciples.
I'm not sure about that, but it sounds right.
Not exactly. But only
like,
intoners are able to communicate telepathically with their dragon.
Yeah, okay, yeah, because going into this segment, everything was done telepathically. I remember that, yeah. But, no,
Okay, I'm just gonna play it safe because I'm about to die.
I don't remember there ever being a point in the games where, in the Drakengard games at least, where the enemies reference the fact that they can hear the dragon talking.
True.
I don't know.
Because, like, they just react in fear, but they, like, Mikhail's saying stuff to them and they don't respond back.
Okay, that was spicy.
I don't know if they're just too scared.
Okay, and
or
the final
if they
boss.
can even hear them. Because Mikhail doesn't technically move his lips when he talks at all. He just, like, stares at you and talks.
You killed your own flesh and blood.
Yeah, that is true. I never thought of that.
And then
Alright, let's kill Gabriel.
you think you can save the world?
Because Gabriel's stupid.
You done running your mouth yet, Mikhail?
I also don't want to turn on the PlayStation.
Do it.
Mikhail still had a future.
Dota auto chess.
Well, you're required. I'm telling you right now, as the president of ARPGME, that you have to. It doesn't matter if you don't want to, you signed up.
I signed up for what? I didn't sign anything.
Hell yeah, you did.
Don't goat me into this.
No, I'm going to because it's my marathon. I'm the president of ARPGME. I don't know what to tell you, man.
Do you want me to sing you Kaine song? Will that make you feel better?
You know the song?
And time.
All of us.
2:54:50. I was trying to get as close to estimate as possible, and I still got sub 3.
Why are you complaining about going fast?
Because I wanted to get us back on track.
Oh wait, are we going to watch this cutscene?
Sure, let's watch this cutscene.
Might as well.
Might as
I mean,
well.
Still gotta do setup and stuff.
You can do setup. Well,
I'm looking. Yeah, we're like an hour ahead of the next run right now.
Yeah.
On top of. Yeah.
Yeah, we are.
So you can do the play and then try to do the that one thing.
Yeah.
All right.
It is.
And then I will set something up here. But yeah, a lot easier if I didn't have to
Mikhail. It's over.
boot up the PlayStation though.
Now I...
One.
Also, the blood, it just turns it all red.
I'm One's brother.
Brother? That's... impossible.
You wouldn't know. You only had your 5 sisters. But in the same way you created your sisters, your sister One created me. I was a failsafe in case you managed to kill her. I was her final weapon. See the sword? It's made from a dragon's fang. That means it can kill an intoner, right?
I... see...
You have no one to blame but yourself, murderer!
I don't blame anyone. I just want to kill the intoners. All of them. You think after all this, I intended to survive? The world doesn't work that way. At last, it's all over. Mikhail.
She's dead. 0 is dead. 1. Do you hear me? I finished off the intoners, just like you said. But what should I do now? How am I supposed to live in a world that lacks the intoner's protection? 1.
All right.
Whee!
Well,
So
that is Drakengard 3.
That leads right into Drakengard 1.
Yes, it does.